Reed did not know if he was going to race here tonight. Showed up late, missed out on practice, was here for qualifying. They're spinning a record as they cross the line. White flag is out. This race is official. Cody Reed got too big of a gap. Gavin Rogers, Scioli are going to have the run. Ollie Finsick in the 24 as well is going to be right there. Malarkey as well. It is going to be a huge run that this 25 has to hold back. Here we go. Scioli goes high. Rogers falls to the 25. They're both trying to find an opening to get around this. They're on Productions machine. They're 3 wide. Ollie gives the buck to Cody Reed. Reed has the run. They're 3 wide behind. Cody Reed wins. It's go time for Hall. He's got to pass 3 drivers in 1 lap. Will he get by Forbes, or will Forbes block and defend? Hall trying to get to the inside. Forbes stays wide. Hall hits. Contact. Get out of the way, Forbes. Hall wants the win, but he overcooks the corner. He'll lose time there. Now, going to be a 2.5 back, and Richard, it might just be down to the teammates.
Where will the mistake happen? Green looks like he's out of fuel. No, he just gets he's out of fuel. Talmadge makes the pass, and now Zach Hall coming down. But Talmadge could squeak away with this win if Hall does not get around Green fast enough.
Green just completely gives up on the chicane. He'll stay to the outside. Hall, though, he is finding himself closing in on the gap. He's a 2nd back. Thomas Green does not there. No fuel for himself. Jared Talmadge, he doesn't have the fuel. Hall sneaks by. Final chicane. Hall overcooks it. Talmadge gets through into the wall. Who's gonna have the time? They both slow down, and it's Hall at the line. Hall.
Right now, Jared Talmadge is gonna try to throw a haymaker out of number 3 into turn 3.
Down to the apron. Does Talmadge have the run? Was the dive bomb big enough? He'll slide his way into the 3. They're almost door banging off the exit of turn 4. Side by side, coming to the line, and it's gonna be Ryan Kelly with the nose. 6/1000ths of a second goes to Ryan Kelly. Benjamin Nelson, Cody Reed on the inside groove, but it's Christopher Wade. Shane Terrian going to be leading the middle and the outside lane. Well, Christopher Wade, he gets tapped. Spud is the 53. It's down to Zach Hall. Benjamin Nelson, lock yourself into the next round. The 79 to the outside. Zach Hall in the 32 on the inside groove. Could Cody Reed be the stealer? Inside, down to the yellow line. Cody Reed steals it at the line. Laps to go here from USA, and it is Fritz, Norman, Johnny Wood Jr. trying to find a way in closer, but it's just slider after slider. Who's going to have the nose when they come across the line? We're a lap and a half to find out. Norman for sure is looking good for himself, but Fritz wants to sweep the cash up the exit of turn number 4. White flag in hand. Norman, Fritz, Johnny Wood might be too far back unless these two make contact. Norman and Fritz side by side. Wood is working the inside groove. 3/10 back, but into the wall is Norman. Fritz looks to be clear. Norman needs one last Hail Mary. Can he get the run off the exit of the corner? Whoa. 3 wide, out to the 4, but it's Scott Fritz nose ahead and wins the All-Star BRB race here for season 6. Before we get to the racing action, we want to say thank you to all the primary sponsors of the BRB Sundance Pro Series. First and foremost, Sundance Pizza, RevSimShop.com, Performance Food Service, MXWraps.com, Whiplash Simcams, and CC Business. Thank you so much for all the sponsors. Now let's get to the racing action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Tuesday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the BRB Sundance Pro Series as Season 6 progresses on. We are at the penultimate race of the regular season. We got tonight, we've got Michigan next week, and then we figure out who will be the 12 drivers that race for the chase in Season 6. We thought, hey, let's give it a little bit of a chance across the sea of the Pacific to Japan, where we will be seeing these BRB drivers attempting the ARC car at Twin Ring Motegi, as it is going to be the CFM Performance 250, and it certainly should be a good one here this evening. A track that was a little bit of a different feel of Darlington, as some Japanese engineers got to go to Darlington back in the late 90s, get a sense of what the track was like, and said, you know what, let's bring a little bit of a flatter, a little bit of a more closer, different design of a Darlington over to Japan, and they certainly created a beast, as this course is a handful. It has been weeks on weeks that the BRB series has been trying to fine-tune a setup that is perfectly suited for the drivers to give us the best performance here this evening, and we're excited to give it to you here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and Zach, certainly something different. Twin Ring, not the most track that you see all the time on every schedule, but when it is on the schedule, it is an honor to see out on track.
Definitely not the most common track, but definitely an awesome racetrack that has a ton of character. And, you know, with not many people really knowing the characteristics of the track, it really can set up for some really interesting racing, because I think when drivers are learning, that's when you get your most chance for mistakes, chance for passing, and all that. So everybody's been in a learning phase, a lot of practice, a lot of testing, like you said, a lot of tinkering of the setup has been going through the weeks here to get this ready. And I can tell you, I drove a few laps myself. It's definitely a handful. So these drivers are going to have their hands definitely having to be quick and just be ready for any type of moment, because this car can step out on you very surprisingly almost sometimes, just because of how tight it is into the corners. But when you come off of each of these corners on both ends of this track, it can really step out quickly.
It certainly can. Tonight's race, we also want to say, before we get to talking about the racing action, we do want to say thank you to the sponsors of the BRB Sundance Pro Series. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Sundance Pizza for being the title sponsor for Season 6. We also want to say thank you to MX Wraps, Performance Food Services, RevSimShop.com, CC Business, and Whiplash SimCams for being a part of Season 6 of the BRB Sundance Pro Series, as we get ourselves ready for the racing action. It's been a great season so far. We got to dive into the points, because that is going to be the key talking point for tonight and next week. Who will be in the top 12? There's no winner in your in system for these drivers, but man, has it shifted over the last couple of weeks on who's in and who's out of the top 12. But still on top of the board, it's Brendan Maddox, Coulter Clark that have been the top two. Adam Buzzio, who is third entering tonight, looks like he will not be able to show up for tonight's races. He's got other obligations that had to take precedent. But Zach, you look at the bottom half of our top 12, it's Dakota Bly, Richard Wolsifer that have found their way in.
That they have, with some of these drivers not coming to some of these races, missing out here. It has changed this cut line up, and the picture has changed every single race. So expect these next two of tonight, Motegi and Michigan, the next, anything can happen, especially, you know, with a new track like Motegi here tonight, and then Michigan's always a wild card with how the draft package is there.
And one of those major drivers that got bounced out is going to be Jordan White, who is currently 14th on the board when it comes to the points entering this evening. A big shocker. The 83 has been very quick. He's led the most laps at most races that we go to, especially in the first half of the season. The second half of the regular season, though, has been a complete just shift of just bad luck after bad luck, and it even struck last week for these drivers at Martinsville. A lot of drivers taken out early in that one. But as we move from the standings, Zach, it certainly is going to be a track here at Twin Ring Motegi. It is a lot of learning aspects. This course, like I said, similar to Darlington, but honestly, a little bit closer to Gateway is, I would say, the more absolute, probably sister track to Motegi.
I would completely agree with you. You know, the layout, you looked at the pictures of the maps of the track, you would be like, wow, Darlington and this are definitely sister tracks. And again, I mean, it was based off of Darlington. That's where the Japanese engineers based it off of. But like you said, it kind of drives a little bit more like a Gateway, I would say, except with just different banking profiles. It's really kind of how you attack the corners that I'd say similar to Gateway, and it's just on opposite ends. You know, of course, Gateway 1 and 2 is much tighter of a corner, and 3 and 4 is much open of a corner. This here at 1 and 2, much like Darlington, much more of an open corner, and 3 and 4 a tighter radius corner. And that kind of makes where the gearing, and that was kind of the thing that was the talk through the town through all the week, is like, you know, we got to dial in this gearing, because you're going to be, you know, running out of gear on one of these back straightaways, and then you're not going to have enough drive off the corner in the next straightaway just because of the corner profile. So shifting going to be, I think, a big topic me and you talk about tonight, Sam.
Especially heading down into turn number 3, one of the hard braking zones, a lot of big passing zones, but also going to be the danger zone of drivers making contact. I think that's where we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers make contact, is on the entry of 3. And then if we're going to see any self spins, that could bring out cautions both ends of the track. Exit of 2, exit of 4, troublesome as well. But more drivers have been logging in here recently. Cameron Taylor getting in to the server, and a big runner third in points. Adam Buzzio, he was on the fence, he was going to be able to show up, has registered, as we've got a minute left in practice before we get into qualifying, which, Zach, qualifying is going to be really important. Every race I've ever seen at Twin Ring Motegi, it is track position is king up front, dirty air. It is going to hold back drivers from making passes. I think qualifying might be the most important factor of this evening, besides getting those stage bonus points.
I'd have to agree 1,000% with you, Sam, because this track's very one grooved. It's hard to make those outer grooves work. You know, you really want to be as close to that white line as possible, and when you have someone in front of you running that line, it's going to be very tough to follow. And that is kind of the things I've been watching for the most in practice, to watch what the characteristic of following a car was. I got to drive this car in the clean air. It is actually very free off the exits of the corner, which you kind of need it to be for it to be able to turn into these corners here at Motegi. But when you're behind someone, I've seen here tonight in this practice session, especially off of turn 2, you push the nose very, very hard and aggressively. And then if you get a sudden burst of clean air on the nose that shoves the nose down, it makes you snap oversteer once you get that air on the nose. So it is going to be a tricky situation, I think, for some guys understeering behind people off the exit of 2 here tonight.
Everyone's coming to a halt. Practice coming to an end, which means it is qualifying time. Drivers will all be given 2 laps to put down their fastest lap possible, but only 5 minutes to do so. Run out of time and you don't get those laps in, you might be starting in the back, as one driver absolutely will be going to the back, and that is Richard Wolsifer, who was given an end-of-the-line penalty after last week's race at Martinsville for an avoidable contact on the last lap. So the 56 gonna have to try to qualify well for a good pit stall, but will it be sent to the end of the line? Everyone else, it's free game. Get out there, put down your fastest laps, but if you touch the wall, touch the grass, you're gonna be finding your lap getting invalidated. As we take off and go, here's the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr., who enters 5th in points here this evening. And Zach, a driver that we know is going to be fast. The question is, can he find the true speed to get into victory lane, where he is hoping to get his 2nd win of the season?
He would love to see that for himself for sure. And now going to start his first lap here of qualifying. And I've watched a bit of guys run some hot laps here in this session, and a lot of times the 2nd lap has been the crucial lap to get it done. So we'll see if Wood gives up the speed on the first lap to kind of build up the heat in these tires and make a better balance for that 2nd run for his race car. And it's going to be tricky to see what these guys do and how they prep the tires here as he comes through 3 and 4 on the bottom. We'll see how he sets up the lap for the 2nd, or is he attempted his fast one on the 1st?
I'm guessing it is a fast first lap for Johnny Wood Jr., because you're usually wanting to take a wider approach, build up the speed heading into your corner, and it's a 36.075 for Johnny Wood Jr., as other drivers starting to trickle in with their lap times. Borbell going to be 2nd fastest We'll see who can try to challenge the top two, as Ben Kinney and Cole Lewis have also put in a time. But the main driver of note, I think when you talk about speed, especially we saw it last week at Martinsville, Dustin Stallings, Zach, this 00, he was the fastest driver from practice until the very end when that time got taken away from him. But I think Dustin, once again, another week where you got to watch out on what speed this 00 has.
I'd have to completely agree with you, Sam. I think he is going to be one to watch out for, but a big snap there coming off of 4. He had to really counter steer that car. Couldn't get back to the throttle like he wanted. That's going to put him right now, I believe, 8th on the board. But I think, again, this is more of a throwaway lap as Brendan Maddox with the fastest time we've seen all session long, 35.86. Let's see if his teammate of the 00 can find the speed, or can Jordan White here in the 83 find some time also.
Jordan White needing a big points day here this week before he can try to set up for a push at Michigan. The 83 was inside of the top 12, but after last week's running at Martinsville, he has bounced out and currently 14th in points. This is not where Jordan was thought he was going to be placing himself, as Dustin Stallings able to bounce up into 3rd position after his recovery lap for lap number 2. But Brendan Maddox, what a lap time at 35.863, the money lap for the 23 machine. Can anyone else try to stop it? As Scott Fritz also looking pretty good after his first lap. What will he have on his pickup? As Jordan White's first lap is a 36.177.
We'll see if he can find some pickup. And most drivers have found pickup on that second lap, and what I think really happens is you gain a little bit more rear stability. You can get back to that gas a little bit harder, and we'll see what the 83 has down the back straightaway heading towards turn 3. Such a difficult corner to get the car slowed down. You use so much brake, and it's such a polar opposite compared to where you attack really the entry of 1. You cannot attack 3. You got to get that car slowed down and rotated so you can get down this long front stretch here and carry your momentum to this start-finish line.
Across the line for Jordan White, it's going to be a 36.273, a little bit slower than his first lap, so that's 7th. Currently on the board, Adam Buzzio going with a complete take-it-easy lap for lap 1, a 36.727, but Adam Buzzio did not practice. He is entering into this session with a little bit of coldness, so you're already seeing that vehicle looking loose off the exit of turn number 2. Might be a little out of control, but we'll see what type of a pickup speed the 5 can find for himself, as Dan Stoccaro as well as Dakota Bly are also out on track, finishing up their qualifying times in these final 28 seconds of qualifying. Buzzio was 19th on the board, and after that lap, he'll move up to 15th. So this is going to be a long race for the 5, as he will be deeper in the field. Dakota Bly, his first lap will count as a 37.664. That's going to be the slowest of those that put down a time. And Dan Stoccaro is trying to finish up his lap, and doesn't look like that lap time is going to count for a too big of a pickup, but it will be good enough for 20th for the 27. Qualifying is finishing up, and that means it is about to be a race time for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. 140 laps after the practice race last night. The admins and drivers came together and said, you know what, I think it would be better if we made this race a little bit shorter instead of the 165 laps, just to make sure that it fits in the potential 2-hour time frame of a race. They want to have plenty of time to race this one out under green flag conditions. The field is set, and it's time to take a look at your starting grid. Taking a poll for the 23 machine, it's Brendan Maddox looking fast, continuing on the strength of the Maverick Motorsports drivers. Another poll for the team and another good start for our points leader entering tonight. To his outside will be the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. with Scott Fritz in 3rd. Dustin Stallings will be starting in 4th in row number 2. Richard Wolsifer as well as Jacob Quayle going to be in 5th in 6th. Jordan White qualifying in 7th with Stephen Borbell going to be in 8th position. And finishing out your top 10, we will be finding Ronnie Norman in the 17 and 9th, and Gray Walker taking that 10th place position.
Starting in 11th, it's going to be the 4 of Coulter Clark, looking for a bounce back after Martinsville last week. 12th is going to be the 41 of Ben Kinney with a strong qualifying run. 13th is going to be the 14 of Zachary Maddox. Cameron Taylor going to be in the 14th position. 15th is going to go to Adam Buzzio. 16th is going to be the 71 of Carl Poehler with Eric Jensen starting in 17th. 18th is going to be the 12 of William Maple Jr. Cole Lewis is going to start in 19th, with Dan Stockero rounding out our top 20. Dakota Bly is going to be in 21st, and we have Gavin Rogers in the grid. I don't believe he'll be racing tonight, but we'll have Evan Patinko rounding out our field here in 23rd.
Yeah, I know Gavin Rogers was getting a little bit of practice time in racing with the drivers, giving them a little bit of a scare of what do we see, the 77 out on track, the season 1 champion. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Doesn't want to influence this season anymore, so we'll have 22 drivers out on track for this evening. Again, Richard Wolfsburg, who qualified 5th, will have to start at the end of the line after a penalty that was given to him after Martinsville for avoidable contact. But everyone else gets to hold position and get ready as we take the track at Twin Ring Motegi for the CFM Performance 250. 140 laps, stage break at the end of lap 45. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. The fuel mileage I was given was around 34 to 36. You might be able to get up to 37 if you're in the draft. But Zach, that's going to be the fun thing here tonight. There's a lot of what ifs and potentials, but we really have no idea what we're getting ourselves into as they're on the backstretch.
That's for sure. Yeah, fuel mileage will be interesting. I think you can affect that a lot as a driver, at least from the little bit of testing I got. So we'll see if that has to be a factor at some point here tonight. But those 23 burning, I mean, just a burning fast lap from him. That was so quick, over a 1/10 of a second gap. And when you do that, you're going to have confidence. So let's see what the 23 is going to be able to, cook up here at the beginning of this race.
Are we going to be patient? Are we going to be aggressive? A lot of questions are on the line. We know cold tires are going to be rough, but can we get into a long green flag run where these drivers can settle into a rhythm? Or will we find ourselves just breaking loose and getting in wrecks? Time to find out what Twin Ring Motegi has for us as the CFM Performance 250 is underway as the field is stacked 2 by 2. Heading down into turn number 1, it's Maddox, Johnny Wood Jr. Heading down into turn number 1 in the 23. A great launch for himself as the rest of the field gets ready. Will we be loose? Will we be tight as they exit at turn 2 now?
Great job, everybody exiting so far off of 2 as they all fan out, and it's going to be everyone clean off of turn number 2 down to 3, and we'll see how they look to get it slowed down. This is a tough corner. You got to get that car really wound up, and look at Cameron Taylor in the background at 42 all the way up the racetrack. A few other cars behind do the similar thing, but everybody seems to make it off of 4.
Gonna see a lot of fishtailing with the rear end sliding around, especially on these first couple of laps, trying to build the heat. It's gonna, with the building of the heat though, it's gonna cause a little bit of a yo-yo effect. Drivers might find a little bit of clarity and comfort for a lap or 2. Well, then it's gonna start fishtailing once again as drivers now gonna be side by side. It's Zachary Maddox who's trying to force the issue on the inside to move forward as they're 3 wide outside of the top 10. As Ronnie Norman having himself with Ben Caney on the 3rd group, but Zachary Maddox muscling his way by. That's a 2-for-1 special for the 14.
Norman almost got a victory at Martinsville last week with the speed he showed, but right there, very close to being in an incident, but luckily they all navigate through it as he's got Buzzio now in the 5, looking to his inside, is up ahead. Cameron Taylor is going to look into the inside of Ben Keeney as everybody looks to find their footing here early at Motegi, and it's a tough track to do it. The rhythm is everything. I kind of compare this to an intermediate short track because you just really have to get into a rhythm of hitting your marks each and every time because it's so one groove, and if you miss that mark, you're going to be way off the pace.
And we have ran a lot of intermediate type courses in the past. We even ran one this season. I think of New Hampshire, one of those races where Coulter Clark got in the victory lane, but it was a lot of just run your own lane, wait for a mistake from the driver ahead of you. Which, speaking about ahead, the battle for second place underway as Dustin Stallings continuously poking the nose, trying to get around as Ronnie Norman, big block up there on his side of a big blip. He'll blink out for a quick second and back out on track, but it's 00 trying to find a way to get around Johnny Wood Jr., but every time he pokes the nose, Zach, there's just not enough space for him to attack for a pass.
Definitely so. Yeah, that is the 00 looking quick, but as I say that, he got a little bit into the wall. That opened up the door. Scott Fritz has now gotten to his inside here as Fritz is trying to make a move here off of 2, but I think Stallings is going to be able to clear him. But for the time being, the pressure's on that 00. And it also got Jacob Quall right there behind him also, who's showing a ton of speed as Coulter Clark and Stephen Borbell race in the background.
little bit side by side behind there with seeing the 2 as well as the 4 going back and forth. They've had their moments. Oh no! There goes the 4 off of the 2's bumper, and all around, just like that, is Coulter Clark bringing out a first caution of the day.
Not good for the 4 team there to be involved in this one. He had a tow, so that was an interesting call to even tow because I don't think that car was too badly damaged.
You didn't think that it was bad, but a bizarre one there. Just frustration might have mounted where he said, you know, I'm just getting off the track. Oh no, it's a money shift, Zach.
Oh, he did.
That is what he money shift off the exit of the corner, and that's why he spun off the nose of the 2.
Oh no, so Borbell just kind of just minding his own business. I wasn't sure if they, you know, they made contact coming up off the corner, kind of, you know, left not enough room there for the car on the outside, but yeah, it was a money shift.
There.
You can see it just blew the motor, so that's why he tows. It wasn't a collision. There was nothing to do with the damage he got from the wall. That was all just not going into the right gear, and you know, you're coming out of 3rd gear there, and you're shifting into 4th before you're even on the straightaway. So it's a very awkward movement. You're still kind of turning and putting the power down the race car. So I noticed that while driving. Shifting there was very kind of an awkward spot, and it could have caught some people off guard. It seems like it's done that for the 4.
And just like that, the driver that was once leading the points for majority of the season now finding his way as very late moves to pit road. Oh boy, that was certainly an evasive maneuvers for a couple. Dustin Stallings will be the only driver that stays out. Everyone else expected to come into pit road, top off on fuel. As, again, stage break at the end of lap 45, expected to go around 34 to 36 laps on fuel. So this puts you right on the line to take it to the end. Stallings is going to be in an awkward position where he's going to need another caution potentially, unless he knows at a super save to take it all the way to the end of this stage. But Coulter Clark out of this race. You know, there's so many different ways that you can do what we call a money shift, where the 4 shifting down instead of up. And I mean, Zach, an H pattern, very easy to do so. Kind of get lost on where you're shifting. Or if you're just spamming your pedals on the back of your steering wheel, that's another way that you could accidentally find yourself going into the wrong gear.
It definitely is easy to do. I mean, it's happened to the best of us. I'd imagine it was probably an H pattern. Just, you know, going from 3rd up in that top right slot, you're going to bring it back to bring it in 4th in the back right, and you just miss it, and you engage it back into 2nd there for a second. And when you're turning 7,000, you know, 7,500 almost RPM, when you're going to shift to go to 4th, when you put that thing in the 2nd instead of 4th, that RPM is going to go through the roof. And yeah, that's what ended his night, and just a tough and easy mistake to do too. So Coulter Clark going to be definitely probably upset with himself with that, but hey, he's got time to rebound when we get this chase going. It's just a tough ending to the regular season for him so far.
Yeah, and everyone in the field topping off on fuel. A little bit of extra topping off for Ronnie Norman, and also going to be Stephen Borbell. We'll get some service done up front. Dustin Stallings did not pit, and he is coasting. Really coasting, letting that thing go to almost a complete stop for the 00 to a point where
he's trying to
is
start
there
the
a
car.
Problem?
Yeah, he couldn't get the car right started. He didn't have a button for ignition, and the reason I say that is he's in the driver's chat with his typing. Is you can see the multiple I's he put. The folks at home can't see it, but we can. Where he typed I on his keyboard multiple times, and that is a hotkey for the ignition on these cars. So. Good thing he got that going, because that could have been race towing situation right there.
It could have been towing, could have been also race control teaming. All right, you're not going, you're not keeping minimum speed, take an EOL, go to the end of the line. As we got back up to full revs, we're back up to full speed. 21 drivers are ready to get to racing action here this evening for the CFM Performance 250. First caution is done and dusted. Pace car to pit road, and we are green. Dustin Stallings getting off and go for the 00. Brendan Maddox going to be on the outside for the 23. He's trying to get down. Johnny Wood Jr. is there. No hope, the 23, who completely just wipes himself out and blows his engine. It's the 23, and money shifts for a second. I
Was that
saw
just
some
tire
smoke.
smoke?
Maybe it was
I think it was
smoke.
just
It
tire smoke.
looked bad as he was slowing
wide.
down. And oh no, they're stacked up. They're 3 wide. They're 4 wide. Let's go for the Hail Mary down into turn number 3. 3 wide, 4 wide. Somehow we're keeping it green as the field is bumping and banging. But we're off of turn number 4. Still 3 wide. Big squeeze. And Zach, hold your breath. Moments are still going on, but we survived the lap.
Wolsifer in the 56 now stuck here 3 wide. Ben Kinney to his outside. And he's going to have an 83 there to his inside as everybody looking for spots here as it's getting aggressive here at Motegi. And what a save, though, going back to that first initial start. I don't know how Maddox saved that. I thought he was going back across the track in front of everybody, and he kept the thing straight, and somehow his race continues on.
Continues on, but once again showing drivers are tired of the blocks from Brennan Maddox. If their nose is there, they're not lifting, and that 23 will go off the nose of these drivers. His bumper, as you saw there, heading into turn number 1, try to put the big block on Johnny Wood Jr., and they said no as they continue to race on. Middle of the pack starting to single file out. That's a big positive that we can stay green for this running, but this is certainly Twin Ring Motegi a little bit more exciting than most times you come to this track. A lot of times it's one's in line. There's a couple of bumps and bruises here and there, but not as much chaos in these first 12 laps than what you usually see at this course. As going to see the 18 of Gray Walker trying to set up to get by the 12 of William Maple Jr., which coming off of last week, William Maple Jr., what a run by the 12 machine that was in the top 5. Felt like all night long at Martinsville last week.
Had a great run going there. Unfortunately, got caught up in some stuff, but he was showing a ton of speed. The most he's had all season is he's going to get stuck here behind Buzzio, who had a terrible exit off it too. He just got really tight with that 5 machine, and he'll try to keep that thing straight. But here comes Richard Wolsifer flying in there. That was almost contact to the back bumper. Ben Kinney also sliding. He might make contact with that 5, but everybody somehow navigates off a 4 after almost touching door to door with multiple different cars there.
And that's going to be the thing to watch out for as the run progresses on, as diving down, trying to get by Adam Buzzio's Richard Wolsifer. But it's the entry to turn 3. If drivers don't have their brake biases set up, they're trying to get into that corner as aggressively as possible to set up the pass. But you can obviously overshoot it very quickly if you're not aware of what your braking markers are. As Ben Kinney throwing it down to the inside, trying to find a way to get around Adam Buzzio, as everyone down checking up at the apex of the corner, trying not to run over the 5.
Holder there really had to check up, and he lost the rear end there as he had to jab that brake. Did a great job of not losing that race car. You got Cameron Taylor there in the 42 also. He's going to have the likes of the 2 of Borbell, who's trying to make the return back towards the front after getting caught up with Coulter Clark's mischief there on the front straightaway. And right now, everybody just fighting tough, but it's going to be a stack up here as a reckon.
Joe's Jordan White. So no, it's Carl Puller that makes hard contact for the 71. And that is a complete front bumper destroyed and gone. Luckily, he's still rolling. Doesn't look like there's any engine smoke, so his race might not be completely over, but that is a hard blow for the 71 machine.
I mean, head first into the concrete barrier, and we'll see how it all happens. You're going off into 1 here, and you know, this track is very tricky. You don't really notice it. It looks very smooth, but right here off of the exit of 2, there's a ton of bumps. And it gets really easy not only to lose the race car with understeer, but also sometimes oversteer. And right there, it was contact from the 5 up into the 71. Taylor couldn't check up in time. That sends the 71 off the nose of the 42. And, man, what a hit for Carl Puller, who's been having a really good run here the last few weeks. Just really good, consistent finishes. And right now, getting caught up in a wreck here. This is tough at the end of the regular season for him, who's close to the points.
And Carl Puller, you're going to see off the back bumper. The inside wall that he hit, that is not a safer barrier wall. That is a hard concrete wall. Those walls will rip up these vehicles. And just getting a little bit loose contact, and there's the finishing blow that sends the 71 to the inside and just nowhere else to go but to hit the wall and now get repairs done. That's going to help out Dustin Stallings to head into pit road and top off on fuel and be completely good to the end of this running. What's going to make this interesting, though, is all drivers are given 4 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with. If you're Dustin Stallings, you might think about using a set of tires here if you want to get back up front to gain some extra bonus points.
He could have done that for sure to charge up through. I think he's just going to for sure it with the fuel mileage there. Again, I think he's going to be going back to that first caution and going, maybe I should have just came down there. And it's tough to make that decision sometimes when it's an early yellow like that first one was. And I think that was almost a no-brainer just the way the caution kind of fell with the timing of it. It kind of put you right in the perfect window to make it to the end. And now another yellow flag. Those other drivers who pit earlier in a great spot to make it, and with no worries.
As looking at drivers that are out there on track, Coulter Clark officially out of this race. Carl Puller has been given a black flag penalty for being involved in self-spin involving another driver. That is a drive-through for the 71. That's going to be his first at fault. If Carl gets back out on track and gets a second at fault, that could park him for the race. The very restrictive penalty system that BRB has been fine-tuning over these last few seasons to try to woo drivers away from overdriving at times and using each other up, as Carl Puller is leaving pit row to stay on the lead lap as we're given the 1 to go, as Johnny Wood Jr., Scott Fritz, the teammates from the 6'5 Motorsports team, going to be leading this front row, so we're about to go green.
This is great to see two teammates up front. They got their other teammate, Wolsifer, not too far behind in P7, so he's been working his way kind of forward after falling back after qualifying 5th. So we'll see how the 56 can try to get up here with his teammates. But Fritz was looking good early in the going. He's also a really good short track ace, kind of in my opinion. And I feel like this track has got those weird kind of short track vibes to it. So it, I think, kind of falls into the wheelhouse of that 48 car. But we know that second row, the two Maddox brothers, they're going to be aggressive. So this should be a fun little restart we got on hands for us here, Sam.
Are we going to see a retaliation and Brennan Maddox trying to use his bumper heading into turn number 1? Or are they going to just take it easy and take whatever points they can? Zachary Maddox got the win all the way back at the race 1 of the season at Daytona. He's currently outside of the top 12 in points. He's 15th entering tonight. He needs good stage bonus points. Again, stage bonus points at the end of lap 45. If you're in the top 10, you find yourself getting some bonus points. So it is critical for some of these drivers to have a good stage bonus point run, as green flag is back out of the air for the CFM Performance 250. Johnny Wood Jr. already 2.5 car lengths ahead, and here we go. The blocking, the battling, the forcing it 3 wide into turn number 1, and Brennan Maddox, it was gifted. He did not have to spin. Scott Fritz off the nose as the 23 took the opportunity on the inside.
Big slide for the 23. He slid up and cleared him, but he was not able to carry the speed, and down the front back straightaway here, a little beating and banging is the 14 giving the push to the 23 to try to help his brother around, but just a little loose on that second groove is Fritz. I think going to be able to slide up here and take second off of turn 4.
Able to take second, but you know, Brennan Maddox ain't going to just sit there and wait. He's going to attempt to go for a pass. Fritz, no attempt on the block. He'll just force the pinch off the exit of the corner and overdrive, not at all. Making it stick was the 23. Brennan Maddox, what a pass for himself to make that inside pass work.
Yeah, with how much room the 48 gave him, he had to really make that car stick, and he did a great job of getting that thing turned early on the entry, as everybody's being really aggressive with their early entry there into turn 1 to get to that white line, as now Richard Wolsifer making some big moves. He's trying to go forward. He's up to the top 5. He's now looking for 4th on the inside of Zachary Maddox.
Zachary Maddox better be careful. Gray Walker's also looking quite quick as the 18's going to big push for the 14 down in turn number 1. Wolsifer in the more preferred positioning through 1 and 2. That's to stay close to that white line as they're pinching off the exit of the corner. Maddox, Wolsifer continue to stay side by side as Walker and the rest of the field just eyeing up their chance to go forward, as Dustin Stallings has almost cracked back in the top 10.
These drivers fighting for these stage points, man. They want to put themselves in position, get the track position so they can score some valuable points here, because the aggression level, the pinching level is very, very high. And look back here, Stallings, he's been trying to make his return back forward. He's looked to the inside of Ben Kinney, now to the inside of Cameron Taylor. Put Stallings up to 9th here if he's able to make this move off of 2, and it looks like he'll get the clear job done.
And the big thing with these drivers further in the back end and the mid-pack, a lot of respect when you've got the drivers that are notoriously known to be inside of the top 10 or leading races. A lot more give further on back, but as you continue to climb forward, the less give you're going to find. Brennan Maddox currently 4/10 off of Johnny Wood Jr. That's trying to stay up front, but he got to stay off the wall. It's the 14, a little bit of a graze, as well as Walker off before.
Trying to use as much racetrack as possible, but you don't want to use too much, as these drivers are getting really aggressive with the downshift, and I'm seeing some cars get really upset by that on the entry of 3, so that's causing to some issues that can transpire to hurt you off of turn 4 also too, as the tires heat up. Look at this again, Stallings being aggressive, making moves to the inside. He's going to try and make the move around William Maple Jr., who goes way up the racetrack, who's going to put him 3 wide with Ben Kinney, and also Cameron Taylor is the 42 not able to clear. The 41 drops back, as now is 2x2 there.
Get back in line. How do you want to move forward? As Ray Walker attempting to go forward on the inside to get by Zachary Maddox in the 14. That's for 5th position. Also, you have the 2 machinists, Stephen Borbell, just watching in the wings on where they want to place themselves. Top 4, trying to pull away from the rest of the field. But here is where the chaos is looming up, as Ronnie Norman thought about poking the nose and going through the middle. Not going to be the case, as Adam Buzzio, Jordan White, everyone further back looks to be just trying to figure out this track. Still, it's a learning process. We're 24 laps in to this 140 lap race. Yes, we have the stage break that's going to happen at about 20 laps, but you can still learn a lot here in the first half of this race. That's going to help you later on.
Oh, no doubt. Especially a lot of these guys are probably the first time they really raced side by side around each other or tried to set up a pass. It's one thing running around the track trying to put your best, most optimal lap together when you have clear air and, you know, the perfect optimal line to run. When you got to set a pass up, nothing's ever going to be perfect or, you know, in your easiest advantage. So you got to really go out there and figure it out as the race goes on. And I think, like you said, with these stages involved, with some of these cautions we've got, drivers are going to learn the more we get into this race, and it's going to get more competitive and more tough to pass even for some others. As look, Borbell trying to pass Maddox, just having to lift out that gas. He saw the flames out the tailpipes. As now Stallings with a big run. He might look to make it 3 wide, but for the time being, just going to ride behind the 2.
Going to give a bump draft on the back straightaway to help the 2 down into turn number 3, and ultimately hoping to overshoot and maybe push that 2 into the 14 and go for a 2-for-1 special. Not going to be the case. Instead, Zachary Maddox has to back out of that corner, and Dustin Stallings just a few positions away from getting back into the top 10. Our pole sitter has been looking, I mean, the driver who at one moment thought was going to be the pole sitter of Dustin Stallings. He has been quick and would love to get back up front, challenging for the win. Which, Zach, the battle for the lead position starting to creep up a little bit more. Brennan Maddox has now cut it down to less than 2/10 and is on the back bumper of Johnny Wood Jr.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's going to have to really start looking hard in that mirror if you're Johnny Wood Jr., because that 23 is doing a lot of little different things. Down in 3 and 4, he's a very much more sharp entry. Down here in 1 and 2, it's very much him trying to play the game of opening the entry up to cut under here on the exit to get the clean air. So the games are being played with the aerodynamics. And if you're Wood Jr., it's going to be all about placement of your race car if you want to keep in front of him. If you give him the clean air on these entries, it's going to be tough for him to set up, you know, to hold him back, in my opinion.
And the big thing, I think it's 1 and 2. There is a massive advantage there for Brennan Maddox in the fact the way that he is entering and exiting out of that corner. That's where he's really getting the big pickup on closing speed. That's helping him out. I think the driver who's getting the most optimal view of all this has to be Scott Fritz in 3rd place, because I'm looking at his lap times. They're similar to Johnny Wood Jr., but he's getting a sense of, okay, this is what Maddox is doing, this is what Johnny Wood Jr. is doing. Which one is the more optimal line for this 48 to take?
I'd have to agree with you, Sam. I think he's getting a really good picture of what to kind of put together to make faster laps for him even, and it's got to be a good sight for him because he can kind of just ride here and let these 2 battle almost and kind of set them up for, you know, maybe something here in a few moments. So we'll see how that works out. You see the gap back to their teammate Richard Wolsifer. Then from there, it's Dustin Stallings who's moved up to 5th now as he's got around Borbell. We'll see if the 00 can keep making inroads. He's very quick right now, one of the quicker cars on the racetrack, really.
Dustin Stallings running similar lap times to Scott Fritz and Johnny Wood Jr. that last time, a 36.4 for those 3 drivers. Keeping an eye on those that are in the mid-pack. Jordan White, Adam Buzzio, they are looking good on the speed tracker as they're running very close times to those that are inside of the top 10 as well. I'm looking to see how well they can try to emulate the speed and continue to grow as we are closing in on 15 laps to go in the stage. And Adam Buzzio is currently in that 10th place position, and he wants a couple of more points to close in on the top 2 of the regular season championship.
Oh man, I'm watching some of these guys exit off at 2, and they're getting so close to the wall. As we say that, we watch there. 18 Walker up into the wall. He's going to lose some speed to allow Cameron Taylor now. Also Buzzio to dive to the inside, but I'm watching everybody, Sam. They're starting to get tough to follow. The dirty air is playing a huge factor. Drivers are losing the nose, especially off of 2. And up front, the battle for the lead is on because Maddox is all over the 75. He is looking to make a move. Last time, it was the 75 almost hitting the wall here off exit, but Maddox getting so close here, able to get a little cleaner air, staying a little lower on the exit. That's allowed him to stay this close. This might be his best opportunity yet.
And then also, we're on board with our leader of Johnny Wood Jr., but ahead of him is Carl Pooler, lap car, immediately ahead of the 75. Former teammates of Johnny Wood Jr. and also Richard Wolsifer when they were back under the Limitless Esports brand. And Carl informing the drivers, go low, he's staying high. Brendan Maddox trying to find a way to get an advantage there with those types of moves. Scott Fritz closing in the difference. Our top 3 within 3/10 of one another. And here we go, Zach. It is the rundown of who wants to win the stage. As Maddox already 2 stage wins under his hat. Johnny Wood Jr., 0 stage wins. Scott Fritz, he's got himself just 1 stage win. So there's a chance for the 75 to finally get his first 10 bonus points from the stage.
He would love to do that. You know, he was super happy about getting that win there at Kansas, and we'll see, you know, maybe some of the confidence, some of that can roll over here to Motegi and just hold back this 23, because I think the biggest thing, he just cannot let that 23 get alongside. As long as he gets him in the dirty air, because you see right there off of 2, every time the 75 is able to exit clearly off the wall, not have any too many understeer moments, he pulls about 2 or 3, 4 cars down the back straightaway just because the 23 can't stay in the gas like he can from not having that clean air up ahead. So it's all about Wood Juniors just staying alongside here and not allowing that 23 to get the run off of 4 to get alongside here down in the 1 and 2.
It's been interesting to watch how Scott Fritz, he's just willing to close in the gap, but there really is no opportunity for the 23 to go for the pass for the lead because he's under threat. And big save by Brendan Maddox. And there's the big blocks. The blocks that have been notoriously around this 23. There is 0 give or worry. And Fritz is going to use up the 23 because of those blocks and going to be making contact. You got to hope you don't get into the wall at the exit of the corner. But Zach, I mean, at some point, you got to think, are these blocks even worth it? Because you almost saw your race be over on the first restart of the race.
That's what you're willing to risk as a driver. You know, that's the thing. I mean, I guess you got to really respect it if a driver's going to go out there and throw those blocks, but you got to be willing to say, you know, when the 75 was to his inside there and that contact made earlier, you know, if you get spun off the nose of somebody because of your block, you can't be too upset. So, you know, it seems like that's kind of Maddox's way to go, is he's going to be aggressive with the blocks, and, you know, if he gets wrecked, he gets wrecked, but it's one of those things. You got to pick the side you're going to be on as a driver. That seems to be the way he's going. That time I noticed he threw the block. It was aggressive, but as soon as he probably got that call out finally from that spotter, he kind of let up at that point to give the room. And I tell you what, it's going to be tough to pass anyways. Even if you just throw those little blocks like that, it can be enough to kind of upset that driver on the corner entry and not allow them to get the good enough run to get up alongside and pull that move on the next straightaway. So it's tough to do. Passing is going to be at a premium, but we'll see how the 23 can try to reformulate back up, because Wood Jr.'s done a good job, and now Fritz kind of dropping back a little bit.
Fritz is falling back. Johnny Wood Jr.'s speed is starting to fall off just slightly. Fastest driver over top 3 is Brendan Maddox, and they are the fastest drivers out on track. But also keeping an eye out on that battle for 10th place in points. A couple of drivers and swapping in and out of that position. Currently still Cameron Taylor, but he's being hunted and hounded by Ronnie Norman as well as Jordan White, and as well Jacob Quayle, that are starting to close in on the difference on this 42, who slammed the wall, but also they're having a slow Zachary Maddox that's starting to falter back as Norman throttling up in the center of the corner. That is a massive run for the 17, and open to keep the momentum off the corner, but just doesn't have it as Jordan pushes the 42 forward.
tough position, because if he's able to hold alongside, I think down in 1 and 2 is where you can really perform at least a little bit better. If you're on the inside line, it seems like that's the preferred place to be. But look at that, the contact from Jordan White. Norman once alongside the 42, now fighting the 25 of Jacob Quall. As Quall goes around the outside of him, Norman going to lose 2 spots after trying to pass the 42.
Going back and forth, where can you put yourself? And it's going to be Taylor and Jordan White battling for 10th place. The bonus points on the line. Both drivers needing these bonus points, as a big dive from the 18 as there were 3 wide. Lap car of Carl Pooler going to be all the way on the outside. Gray Walker trying to push forward. Adam Buzzio and Stephen Borbell trying to see how the teammates from Next Level Motorsports are going to align heading in these corners as Walker dashes up to the outside. Did not want to think about following the 5 into the corner with that type of a move.
No, he did not, for sure. And look right back here. They're racing even harder back here because you got the 83 of Jordan White who's got around Maddox. Now Jacob Wall looking to the inside. You got Cameron Taylor. He's lost a couple spots in this ordeal. And you have Norman right in the background watching all of this.
5 laps to go on the stage, and this is some great racing action from the CFM Performance 250 from Twin Ring Motegi. And the drivers are utilizing every little bit of speed that you have underneath you. Ronnie Norman, a big blink for himself. Taylor ducking down low, trying to find an opportunity, but the 25 of Jake Quayle looking great as he continues to push forward. And those are some massive points for the 25, as he's also one of those drivers that needs every point possible to set up for the chase. But we got to go back up to the lead. I know there's big points on the line there, but the challenge for the lead position is Brendan Maddox almost completely bump drafting the 75 through 1 and 2, trying to make a mistake on Wood Jr. at every possible waking moment.
Oh, man, yeah, I was watching that, Sam. He was all over the deck lid of that 75, and he's been a little better out of 4. This is where he's been better. Wood Jr. carries more speed in the middle. He gets the better run off the corner, but down here in 1 and 2, it's been Wood Jr. who's just been doing his best to try. He slides up the track here a little bit, then gets the car cut back down the track, and now once they're directly in the tracks of that 75, it's tough. Look at Maddox. He slides big off the corner, loses all the gap he gained through 3 and 4. So this is the game he's been playing the whole time of, you know, he can follow for maybe a lap once his tires get back cooled down, but it's just those tires overheat quickly as you're right in that dirty, turbulent air of that car ahead.
And it's about to be 2 laps to go in the stage as they cross the line. Now pit road is closed, been told to the drivers from race control of Rev. And that gap is now ballooned down to 3/10 as the battle for 10th still underway. As Jacob Quayle in that position, Norman has fallen back to being getting by Zachary Maddox and Cameron Taylor that have fallen out of position. Don't know if there's going to be any spot to make moves now. Our top 10 look pretty solidified as Johnny Wood Jr. exiting out of these corners. Zach, it's been a crazy first stage, but it's time for the white flag of stage 1 to come to a conclusion.
Johnny Wood Jr. looks like he's done everything he's needed to. It's been, like you said, almost moments where the 23 is pushing him through the corners, but he played his cards right. He put the car in the right spot on the racetrack to take away the air from the 23, and it looks like this stage win is going to be a guarantee. Is down the back straightaway. He's got multiple car links back to the 23.
There were chances, there were opportunities, but at the end of the day, Johnny Wood Jr. has found his positioning. He got his first win a couple of weeks ago. Now grab your first stage win for the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. Brandon Maddox going to take second. Scott Fritz will take third. Fourth goes to Dustin Stallings. Rich Wolfsifer will take fifth. Sixth goes to Stephen Borbell. Adam Buzzio seventh. Eighth is Gray Walker with Jordan White ninth. And finishing out the top 10 stage bonus points is Jacob Quayle in the 25. And I gotta give credit to those that are challenging to make it into the top 12 of the chase. First and foremost, Jordan White, he needed those stage bonus points. Grab them. Gonna be seeing Cameron Taylor did not get stage bonus points for the 42 machine. That is a rough one for himself.
It really is for him. He really needs those, and so close. I mean, it was for a moment there in position to get him, but it was the last 5 to 10 laps of that stage that really faltered for that 42, getting them out of the stage points.
Well, we're about to get ready for pit stops, and after pit stops are over, we'll talk to Johnny Wood Jr., get his thoughts, and see he prepares for pit entry. 4 tires and fuel is what is expected for the field. You got less than 100 laps to go here tonight, and Zach, it's going to be around 90 when we go green again. This certainly is going to be a question of when do you want to make your final stops, expecting there to still be 2 stops before the race is over. But man, is it elevated tonight's racing to a lot of questions of when and where do you want to make those pit stops for track position?
I completely agree. I think track position is going to be king here tonight. So timing your stops, timing your strategy to keep the track position is going to be the most important thing you can completely do. So let's see how these stops go, because Maddox with that final box, he could win the race off pit road. It's going to be close, but I think Wood Jr. are going to hold on to the spot.
A nose ahead, and the 75 will hold it. Dustin Stallings, big gain for the 00. He's able to pass Scott Fritz and move up into the 3rd position, which is going to make this restart a little bit more interesting as Johnny Wood Jr. getting ready to catch up to the pace car. We're going to try to queue up and see how this 75 machine team is feeling. As we bring up the 75, Johnny Wood Jr. with us. Johnny, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
Yep.
Well, your first stage win of the season. How are you feeling? How's the car feeling out there on track?
Yeah, I'm glad it was glad we won the stage. It's all about tire management. Honestly, this clean air is very helpful. It'll be interesting to see, when it comes down to crunch time, what people do. Just because there's no way around but the bottom.
Definitely seems to be that way, Johnny. You've done a great job of protecting that bottom. You think that was the most critical thing, is just really putting that 23 right there in that dirty air off the exits of these corners?
Yeah, giving them the dirty air and just saving that right front. That way you can get that turn off. Don't burn it too hard coming off the corners. That's really all you can do, and just hope that he don't murder you off the corner. So we'll see.
Well, good luck on this upcoming rest of the race, Johnny, but congratulations on winning the stage, as we're going to send you back to your team. But good luck on the rest of the running here from Twin Ring.
Yeah, appreciate it.
As that is the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. Obviously, the task is simple. That's get up front, stay up front, put the dirty air where you need to place it, and stop any of these late lunges into the corner. We'll see how that 75 can handle these runs, as it's going to be seeing the Maverick Motorsport drivers on the inside of Brendan Maddox and Dustin Stallings. Johnny Wood Jr. will have his teammate right behind him in the 48 of Scott Fritz. And this is the GOAT sign. This is the chance. There's no more stage breaks. It's all about victory from here on out. It's been a fun one so far, these first 48 laps. But we are back to green flag action for the CFM Performance 250. Johnny Wood Jr., Scott Fritz going to be clear for now, but Fritz not fully committed down, and oh boy, late dive right in front of that 23 machine.
Oh, big risk there taking that, but it was Maddox backing out of that situation, but I don't think he's going to back out there.
Garrow right on the rear bumper, loosening up to 20. Going to be the 48. Major save by Fritz. But now it's right back to being the hornet's nest as he falls to the clutches of the 00, Dustin Stallings. And Fritz is just doing everything he can to survive as Maddox, great launch off of 4, trying to pull away to keep his sights on Johnny Wood Jr.
Definitely got to keep your sights on that leader up there, as Wood Jr. is going to be doing everything in his power to manage those front tires to try to keep these guys at bay here for as long as possible. But here we go. Maddox, the 48 of Scott Fritz here. He wants to get back around as Maddox big slide off of 2, but both of them fighting for rear grip here as we get up to speed. Is now Richard Wolfsper, who's been knocked out of the top 5. He's racing with the likes of Gray Walker, and he's got Borbell right ahead of him.
Borbell's been looking good after recovering from the contact between himself and the 4 of Coulter Clark, when Clark money shifted in front of the 2. That caused the 2 to get major front end damage, but great recovery run from Stallings. Right now it's Dustin Stallings. What a lap for himself. Fastest lap of the day at 35.9. One of the few drivers that's been willing to go tap into the 35-second bracket. But you got to give credit to Borbell. He has done a great job recovering. Same for Wolsifer, who had to start the race off with an end-of-the-line penalty. Here's a couple of other drivers, though. Mid-pack, a little bit deeper in the field. Still the madness. It's not just up front. It's even further on back as you got Ben Keeney, Jordan White, Evan Patinko. These guys are all racing for the rest finishes of the season, possibly.
I think a lot of them understand that the farther you get up on these restarts, the easier it is to defend here as these runs go on. But we'll see what happens. Is Eric Jensen, up to 13th. He's right behind Adam Buzzio, looking to maybe claw his way forward. As again, everybody in the first few laps here are going to be managing their stuff, but also trying to make up the ground. Is right now Walker in the 18 under attack.
Out front, challenging for 7th position, Ronnie Norman and Gray Walker going back and forth. Also going to be a driver heading into pit road. It's the 83 of Jordan White, and he's staying to the inside pit, into the pit boxes. I don't know if there's an issue. He says his headset died, guys. Isn't plugging in. He is calling it a night. Jordan White, another week of a miserable finish for the 83, and that could be the nail in the coffin, Zach, of the chase for Jordan White. That was one of the favorites to challenge for a championship.
After the first half of the season, I think he would have been one of those drivers in the hat of the names who've been like, he has got the speed, he's got everything, just needs to put it together. But unfortunately, going to have some technical issues here tonight that take him out of the race. And yeah, like you said, I think that might be deal over. Zachary Maddox going around the 14 down the back straightaway. He's trying to gather it up, but it's hard into the inside wall. I don't think we're going to stay green for the time being, too.
He's going to be getting it straight. There's no other oncoming traffic, so we stay green even with the contact, as Zachary Maddox was challenging Cameron Taylor at the time, ran over the bumps, lost the rear end, and hard contact all on his lonesome, and no caution is thrown as Maddox just has to race on. And luckily, I mean, the damage doesn't look as bad as it should be, as he's able to continue to race and stay green at this current moment.
Definitely tough for that 14. That's hard to get that nose damage, and now he's just going to have to see if he can somehow salvage again and get something. As surprisingly, looking at his car, it's not too damaged, but it is going all off here right now. And Motegi's drivers are trying to make moves. For a moment there while that all happened, Brendan Maddox was trying his best to make the move up front, but just couldn't get it done. Now it's going to be Scott Fritz coming up behind him, and also Dustin Stallings to add to the mix. I think we're going to have 4 cars here stacked up very soon.
Wouldn't be surprised about that at all. These guys have been all running so similar on lap times. It's just a couple of hundredths here and there. That's been the difference between our top 4, and that's what's enabled them to stay within practically a half a second from one another. Then you've got the little bit of breakaway from 5th on the back. We're going to be seeing Borbell, Wolsifer, Walker, Norman having their duels of their own small little pack. And then a couple of other drivers deeper in the field from 9th on back, having another pod of drivers going back and forth. So, we're starting to get a sense, Zach, that the first stage set the tone. We could have a wreck-filled evening if drivers are running on top of one another, but you can also have this type of a race where you've got your pods that you're just too latched onto, where you're practically stuck where you're at, where you're running.
No, definitely, yeah, and you kind of battle the same people all night long, and that could get always interesting as the patience wears thin near the end of these races. As Maple Jr. right now under attack from the 81 of Evan Patinko, who's trying to break his way into the 14th position. But Maple Jr. at one point was up towards that top 6 on one of these restarts, but it's kind of fell back here.
Battle for the lead. Got to go up there. Brennan Maddox got the run off of turn number 2. Johnny Wood Jr. was not willing to defend and just kept it side by side, and Maddox, clean pass, no worry, and he'll take the lead position. Our pole sitter is back on top.
What a job by him, and this is going to be interesting to see what kind of pace does that 23 have now. The way he was able to stay so close, so tucked up behind the 75, that makes me think he has got some really strong pace in that car, but we'll just have to see. Again, is this going to be more about managing your equipment and managing the clean out front, or will he try to drive away?
It's been a while since Johnny Wood Jr. was in this type of dirty air. Let's see how he's able to retaliate back, or is he going to be trapped and just nothing he can really do? Big wiggle for both of the 6'5" Motorsports drivers of Wood and Fritz. As Stallings just continues to see where he can place himself, but right now, not a lot of worry. I think for all of these top 4 drivers, as long as you're close, coming up to pit stops later on in this run, that's going to be the big thing to keep your eye on, is who can have a good pit entry, exit, and ultimately get the big gains on your competition. That's where I'm keeping my eye out on, because that just seems like the most tactical way to get by your competition if you're able to just stay this close.
No doubt. I think pit stops will be critical. I mean, when do you come down? I mean, I would imagine you're going to split these runs up into about 31 to 32 lap, 32 lap runs, and that kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room, because you can go anywhere from about 34 upwards of 38. It just really depends on the shifting kind of aspect of things. But I would say 34 is plenty good to go. So that gives you a little 3-4 lap window of wiggle room on some of these runs to kind of make a different strategy, and that could be what plays out. Again, we've heard tire management is critical, but I think clean air more than anything is what drivers are going to be looking for, as we can see the pods starting to form again.
As Dustin Stallings, tired of sitting in 4th, wants to press forward, diving down to the inside. No resistance from Fritz. He'll try to retaliate back off the exit of the corner, gets on the rear bumper and try to put a little bit of dirty air on the back end of the 00, and actually backfires on Fritz, costing him more time.
Oh, yeah, that was a big backfire moment for sure. Yeah, for him, is Stallings really able to do a good job of driving on clear there through the center. Fritz tried to drive back up to the back bumper, but just lost the nose as Measley got to him and made the contact.
And now we fall back to the next closest battle on track. This is Adam Buzzio, Ronnie Norman, 8th, 9th, as well as Cameron Taylor sitting right behind him with a chance to close in on potential passes. It looks like a lot of this is just get in line. Where will the opportunities of passes line up? It's Eric Jensen lining in 12th. Ben Keeney back there, and a couple of the drivers further on back. You've got Cole Lewis in the 52, as well as Scott. It's going to be Dan Stoccaro, and Stoccaro running a special scheme with drivers coming off of the 4th of July this weekend, throwing out some of their patriotic schemes. And here's the Pepsi 27, a throwback to Jeff Gordon's old Pepsi machines. Probably some of my favorite Jeff Gordon schemes were whenever he was having those Pepsi sponsors on it.
Definitely always were those great, blue cars that they always produced with that. So had some really, really cool ones over the years, and cool to see the patriotic version of one here for sure. Is now we check up to Dakota Bly, our winner from Iowa earlier this season on the fuel strategy. Right now running in the 17th position, right behind the likes of Carl Pooler, who has been able to get on the lead lap after it's all said and done. And he does have a front end back on that race car. That left front's still a little banged up, but definitely more downforce than he had, probably 2 or 3 cautions ago.
And with Carl entering tonight 10th in points, he needs to be able to get as many positions up on his competition. So getting the repairs done, massive overall. But Dakota Bly, big thing for the 88. He enters tonight 11th in points. Didn't get any stage bonus points, Zach. His big rewards have been a lot of big wrecks. Drivers up front kind of overstepping their boundaries and taking each other out. Tonight's not looking like one of those nights where we're seeing that similar pack racing. There's going to be a big one. Everyone's involved. This is going to be a rough one for Dakota that could come down to, can he find the right strategy that's been helping him all throughout this season to be inside of the top 12 in points?
It very well could play down to be that way for sure. As this has been one of those races kind of spreading out just a little bit more. You're kind of breaking off into groups of cars that have similar pace. So it is made for some interesting battles, of course. I got to say that battle for the top 3 is still very, very impressive to see. Johnny Wood Jr., he is still right behind the likes of Brendan Maddox, and actually he might be going for a move up front as they're racing side by side down the back straightaway.
Brandon Maddox was expecting a dive to the inside. Not the case. Johnny Wood Jr. said, I'm going to utilize all of my speed on the outer groove. Now trying to go with an early apex crossover pass right at 75, but not able to get into the throttle as soon as he was hoping due to having the vehicle to his inside, and they'll be back to lined up. But that exit out of turn number 2 certainly gave a little bit of hope, as the 75 once again riding about a half a groove higher than the 23 and hoping to build up the momentum. But oh no, the wall is calling his name, but every lap just gave it away from it.
I tell you what, I think what Wood Jr. did there, they get to the outside, was so impressive last time, and I would like to be in his position to, if he does that, just get a little bit farther alongside before the entry if you can. That will really put him in a really good position to be able to stay on the quarter panel of that 23 through the center of the corner, and then the fight off exit will be monumental. But now I think he's gone from attack mode to he's got to look a little bit in the rearview mirror, because look right behind him. Here comes the 00 Stallings, the winner from last week. He showed a ton of speed already in this race. He's put himself right up into the mix.
Justin Stallings able to get back into victory lane. It took him almost a full season to get back into victory lane for the 00. He is obviously always a favorite driver that won a championship back in season 4 in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. He knows how to get it done and has been trying to help the Maverick Motorsports team to find a way back into a championship form. And they have built certainly a roster with Brennan Maddox, Dustin Stallings, bringing on Carl Pooler a few seasons back. This season, bringing on Zachary Maddox and having those core guys. Bring on also the Blackbird Motorsports, kind of the sister team. It's been fun to see those 7 drivers really work well. Coulter Clark, Ray Walker, Cameron Taylor hopping on board as the side team to Maverick Motorsports. But Zach, Dustin Stallings, what a dive there into turn number 3. These guys are trusting their brakes way more than I would be.
Definitely hard on the brakes there and having some great racing for sure. And one thing I'll tell you is this track is kind of definitely darkened up here a little bit. I think we've had some cloud coverage move through, and this might play a little factor with how these cars drive balance-wise. So we'll see how that affects following each other as we pop our weather conditions up on the screen. Is you get to see, again, a little bit of cloudy conditions out there, and that is having an effect, Sam.
The ambient air temperature currently in sim is 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp at 91 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the wind. A little bit of a breeze is partly cloudy here this evening. And seeing how the track can cool off throughout a run is going to be the question as we are halfway through this race. It certainly has been a lot of questions of who can be up front and who's going to make their stance, as pit road going to be calling a lot of these drivers' names here in the next 10 to 12 laps. And that's going to be, I think, the big shifting moment of where will drivers be after this first pit stop, and how much is it going to break up the field even more than we are right now?
That is a really good question. I think pit stops could be very interesting, because just looking at the entry of pit road, I mean, even we saw during our caution laps and some of those pits, it got really close. You got to really slow down pretty early off the exit of 4 there to get slowed down. So I think we could have some interesting moments if drivers try to, pit right in front of somebody and just don't let them know and don't give them the heads up. We could have some issues.
I think the crazy thing also about the pit road here at Twin Ring Motegi is that most tracks, when you go to 1.5 miles, I mean, the speed limit is around 45 miles per hour. It's 50 here at Twin Ring, so it's a pretty quick one. They're going to be seeing these drivers go down pit road, as Rich Wolfsfer, as well as Gray Walker and Adam Buzzio. I know Buzzio's been over the horn letting Gray Walker know, hey, you're blinking, be careful, as the 5 has been trying to find a way to get around the 18 to 56 these last few laps to try to get even closer to 5th place.
It's always a tricky situation navigating a blinking car directly in front of you, because you kind of, it kind of spooks you a little bit, throws you off your game. You're trying to position your car, where the other car's not, and to not run into them, but they disappear for a second, and say they change a little bit of their momentum up. Next thing you know, they come back, they're, on top of you pretty much. So it is a scary situation, but it looks for the time being right now to have kind of cleared up, as Buzzio has the 18th directly in his sights.
Cloud goes away, the sun's starting to shine on through, and Adam Buzzio shifting his way, trying to accelerate out of the corner, and then shifts back up into fourth gear. And like you said, Zach, the shifting pattern that these drivers have to do, so on edge, because you're not even fully on the straightaway when you're going up into that fourth gear.
It has a huge effect. It really does, because they're so awkward. We've seen already a misshift from Colton Clark earlier, and it also can kind of upset the car balance. And look, there is what Adam Buzzio was talking about, the blink, and it comes back now. As it seems like it just kind of disappears in and out for Gray Walker, and I think the 18 might just let the 5 go here because he's blinking, and respectable move from the 18 there.
Yeah, the 18 did say over the radio, hey, just take it here. Didn't want to influence Buzzio anymore, as Adam Buzzio's teammate, Steven Borbell, up to 5th place for the 2 machine. It's been a pretty good run, but he's kind of in a no man's land. One of the few drivers that's not competing around anyone else, which is kind of a bizarre feeling to have. Other drivers that are in a similar spot would be Scott Fritz. That's just a couple of seconds, is a 1 second off of Dustin Stallings, and there's a little bit of draft help, but here's the look from the straightaway and the gaps that are building, the pods that are racing against one another. It is certainly interesting how drivers are going back and forth throughout this race. As pit road, we are 5 laps away from it starting up.
We definitely are, and this, and personally, it was right in the region of where I felt like tires would start, or pit road would be kind of a consideration, so to say. So they have the ability to go longer here, but I think you could see his pit stops as early as now. As from 3rd, Dustin Stallings, he had a heavy collision off of 2 with the wall. He lost a ton of time, as right now Wood Jr. and Maddox starting to gap that 3rd spot.
And Dustin Stallings trying his best as drivers entering pit road. That will be seeing Adam Buzzio, Steven Borbell into pit road, the first takers so far, as they're going to give their chance. What gains can they find here with going with the earlier stop? I mean, looking at the drop off on pace, and Zach, it's not that great of a fall off that I'm seeing from some of these drivers. It's only about a half a second to a full second on the fall off that these drivers are having on their set of tires. There's a couple of guys that are only about 6/10 off of their fastest lap of the day. So that management all throughout the field, pitting early, could get rewarded greatly for Buzzio as well as Stallings.
Completely agree with you, Sam. Yeah, looking at the deltas for everyone out here on this racetrack, it definitely seems to be the way that I would want to be pitting here pretty quickly just to try to get in front of somebody. I mean, they've only fell off about a half a second.
Adam Buzzio, black flag, speeding or unsafe pit exit. He's got to head back into pit road for the 5. It was looking like such a prime opportunity to gain positions, but throw it all away. Now Scott Fritz is going to head into pit road. He's one of the first takers over top 4. Oh, that is gut-wrenching, though, for the 5 machine that is heading into pit road.
That is heartbreaking. It really is. And he's had a night where he's been right in that edge of the top 10 area, kind of breaking in there late into the runs, and now going to have to need some help from at least a yellow flag probably to get him back into the action. As right now we're watching the likes of Richard Wolfsfer running in the 4th spot, having a great night. And look at this. Here comes Wolfsfer. He's coming to pit road, and also is Brendan Maddox and Stallings coming down. Wood Jr. still out on track.
And we'll see how long Johnny Wood Jr. wants to stay out again. The longest that I was told you could go is around 36 to 37. If you have the draft help, you can go about 37 laps. And Johnny Wood Jr. did fall behind and was following these drivers. And also with the shifting aspect, that's causing drivers to use a little bit more fuel. Is Johnny Wood Jr., though, heading to pit road this time or the next? As he throttles off the exit, it's another lap around for the 75.
Interesting call. I feel he's feeling like he wants a little bit of difference in the tires, but from the lap times watching, it's not too big of a difference. So I don't think he should wait too much longer, because at this point, I think you're going to have the 0-0. A Stallings jump you. But at the same time, the benefit of new tires are not that big because of, not too much of a delta. So you don't see as big of a jump from some of these drivers who pitted early, but I still think it could be close enough.
It is now Going to be seeing Johnny Wood Jr. heading into pit road. A lot later of a pit entry. He's been working on that one. Hoping not to get caught speeding on pit entry. It's his marks, and away the 75 goes. Also going to be waiting for other drivers. Gray Walker stays out for another lap. Cameron Taylor expected to stay out for another lap. So a couple of shocking drivers able to go at least 37. How much further could they go if they've been backing off their pace as much as this?
Yeah, that's going to be the question, to see how far some of these guys can go. The little bit of testing I did yesterday, it felt like you could go 38 laps if you kind of ran full bore. Now my pace wasn't as good as these guys. That's why I kind of was saying 36 to 37. But at the same time, if you're just lifting and coasting a little bit better, you can definitely do some good things. But look at that, as we say, this all is cycling. You see Brendan Maddox go past Johnny Walker there. Brendan Maddox fastest lap of the race, and I think Walker also, problem for Wood Jr. Is it's going to be Dustin Stallings quickly up to the back bumper, but I think just enough timing for the 75, he'll hold him off.
Yeah, a lot of movement happening there as Gray Walker was heading into pit road on top of all those pit stops happening. And Johnny Wood Jr. will stay ahead of Dustin Stallings, but Brendan Maddox with putting down the fastest lap of the day. Was that an overcooking moment for the 23, or is that just him finally pulling out his maximum speed here this evening? We know there's at least one more pit stop looming in the background for these drivers as they continue to race on. It's now the rundown. Can you catch up to Brendan Maddox or not? As Dustin Stallings is right there, but I don't know if these guys are going to work together. They're going to fight for passing each other. It's going to be a good thing to watch out for. But for us, some of the booth, we are going to step aside as the pit cycle is concluded. It's now the rundown to the next green flag pit stop. It's been a good one so far as you've been watching the BRB Sundance Pro Series from Twin Ring Motegi, your CFM Performance 250 Race 12. Certainly has been a great one so far. We can't wait to give you the rest of the call moving forward as you've been watching all of it on here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll be back right after this for more racing action from Japan.
And we are back here, folks. It is yellow on the speedway here at the Twin Ring Motegi for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. And what a timing for this yellow here. This is not in the window to make it for fuel, and it's going to make things very, very interesting for sure. As it was Evan Patinko, the driver, who went around right in front of our leaders, actually. I don't know if he had contact, but I know he was racing around the likes of Carl Pooler, and we'll try to get that all gathered up as we had to do some work up here in the booth to get things ready, as Sam Dyer had to step away for the evening, as we'll be having Robert Moyer join me here in a few moments. But definitely going to be an interesting timing for this yellow. I'm going to be very intrigued to see what these drivers elect to do, because the timing, again, does not put them in the window to make this thing. We have still got more than 45 laps to go in this event, and that is not going to be enough in the tank. We've seen stage 1 was 45 laps, and they were not able to do that. So look at this, the cars filing the pit road. I think we'll see an extra set of tires thrown on and maybe some fuel only from others. But like I said, Sam Dyer had to step away. We got Robert Moyer, though, joining me up here in the booth. Robert, how you feeling here, man, as these guys come to pit road in Japan?
Well, I have to say what was really interesting in this, Zach, is the yellow right now. So
yeah,
we'll have to see here. I'm trying to find it, but I don't know if I can find it. It's not showing up for me right now.
As we'll look for that there for a second, folks. But it looks like the race off pit road was won by the likes of Gray Walker, and I think Walker going to be one of the only guys. I don't see a tire change, so it looks like just fuel for the 18. He feels like he wants to have that set extra on them, but
who was it on?
Interesting time.
If you don't mind.
In the 81, the 81 at Evan Patinko. And yeah, it will be I believe the next lap here, as they're coming off of 4 this time. Okay. It'll be going into 3, I think, on this lap right here. Is it did happen again right about in front of our leader, or right in front of our leader of Brendan Maddox. So it was definitely a scary sight for him there. You got Zachary Maddox in the 14 kind of in the background. Also, I think he has a mistake here. He gets loose, goes to the inside. He kind of loses ground to them, but down into the corner here, I think you're going to have Patinko get a little too deep into this corner here. He's going to get up into the back of Pooler, and I think right there he just slammed the brakes to not hit Pooler, and that's what caused that car to step out in the rear and break loose and spin out. And right there, bringing out the yellow to bring us back to a restart here.
Let's hope that he's okay. After that, he just door slammed the wall. So on the driver's side, so looks like we'll see what kind of damage that gives him. But I think he should be okay. He basically pancaked the wall. So
I'd have to agree with you, Robert. I think he's not in the worst of scenarios. It could have definitely been worse for him to play out there, but we'll see what it's like for Patinko, as again, he is 1 lap down after that spin right there in front of our leaders. But after pit stops, it's all back here, double filed up as we're 1 to green here before we get ready to go back to racing action. Cameron Taylor, he stays out, does not pit. He's got 10 laps on the tires, 10 laps on the tank of fuel. We'll see what he elects to do in this 42. He needs some valuable points. He gets a lap lead at least, as now Walker, the first driver to come off of pit road. No tire change for him. The rest of them behind Robert, all on 4 tires. We're about to get busy. Here's the pace car, pulls in and get ready to go back to racing action here at the BRB Sundance Pro Series, as this green flag out and Cameron Taylor under attack already, as Brendan Maddox is going to dive up the inside here into 1. Look for the big move from the 23, as he's going to get the job done.
Oh yeah, that 42. I mean, I don't know if that's a good call. Oh, we got loose cars. We've got Johnny Wood stuck there in the middle, and looks like Dustin Stallings is going to work on the outside. The 18's going to push the 42 back to the lead, as the 23 is going to try to work underneath Gray Walker right there.
Taylor, what a job there fighting off of turn 2. It was job done for the 23. He gets loose, opens up the door, and the 42 of Cameron Taylor storms back through it, and now he takes control of this race. Going to be on the older set of tires. What can he do? Can he hold this grouping off. As you'll see, he drops down to give that air to the 23, as the 23 is going to get a little bit tight there off the corner exit and have to gather that car up. But it's been great racing so far here at Motegi. I think this right here is going to be tough because also you got Gray Walker blinking there in that outer groove. It's getting stacked up for everybody as Taylor up the racetrack, now opening the door for Maddox.
Now Maddox is going to look on the inside, going down the front stretch here. We'll see if he can make it, and he should be able to at least get side by side. He should try to be able to clear. Looks like he's going to clear as these old tires, Zach, are now showing its wear and tear here, as now Dustin Stallings is going to look underneath the 42. And he should be able to make the pass. So, hey, it was a good battle. That 42, you got to give Cameron, you know, the credit of staying out and leading a couple laps. But I don't know, me personally, staying out like this, and if we stay green, he's going to lose more points than what he gained.
It'll be tough to hold on for sure, but I think the biggest thing for him is if he can hold on for long enough. Where do the tires start to even out? We've seen for everybody at a certain point in the run. Maybe it'll be a net gain from where he was. We'll just have to see. The strategy's going to be yesterday, and Johnny Wood Jr. almost pushed him through the corner there. That was wild scenes. We'll see what Wood Jr. does down here into 3 and 4. Taylor dives it off into the corner. Wood Jr. kind of backed it up now, trying to run to the back bumper, but just not able to get around as Stallings and Maddox look to get away, as Wood Jr. going to dive up the inside here, down the front straightaway, and he needs to get this move done because those top two are going to be trying to get away from him.
As Dustin Stallings is now going to put down the fastest lap. And you said Woods was almost pushing him. He was literally pushing him down the backstretch and through the turn there. Oh, that's a 42 into the wall. Look out. We got carnage going on a little bit. The 48 got involved. Stephen Borbell had a little bit of a clip into that one. Richard Rucifer just missed out on that one. That could have been race ending there possibly, but they all keep it together as now we got side by side again, and that might have hurt Cameron's car there, as now he's going to duck it down going into the turn. And man, Fritz is all over him, trying to work around him, Zach, there, as he's battling. These guys are just stay here, top four wide, 3 wide. Man, what a crazy race going on.
Guys are going for every little thing they can find. They know the passing is tough. Once you kind of get strung out, I think your best opportunity to get passes done is when it's kind of stacked up like this. So they're taking their opportunities. They're trying everything in their power to make it happen. Is now Taylor under threat. He's dropped back to 7th in the bump from Fritz. They're going to wreck in 1 and 2 as Norman goes around. Fritz into the outside wall. Caution on the speedway here at Twin Road Motegi.
And there goes the front end clip. It just went sliding down the track. And I have to say something, Zach. These playoff drivers are starting to really just fall out one by one here. This is just getting crazy.
It's crazy scenes for sure there. I think the 48 there unfortunately making contact to the back bumper of the 42 as they just came to blows there, down in 1 and 2. As you'll see, it's going to be the 48 of Fritz up top. The 42 of Cameron Taylor kind of comes up, closes the door. There's the bump right there on the entry that sets it all off, and that sends him into the 17 of Norman, who slides through the inside of the racetrack and spins out himself as he got a heavy hit from that 48. But 48, the one is going to be knocked out of the race from this event.
Oh, watch right here as he's coming out of 3 and 4. This is going to happen right up here as Fritz almost gets into the wall. Cameron comes up, no problem there. Little bump, and that was just a double bump. And I think that all has to do due to Cameron having older tires. He had to slow up just a little tick more with them older tires going into that turn, Zach. Not blaming him. I'm just saying he had to slow up, 2 miles per hour slower just to make that turn.
Definitely, it definitely can be a factor. And when you're racing this close, those are things that play out for sure. And man, Taylor goes for the spin. He gathers it up, doesn't get really any damage other than some back bumper damage from it. Of course, Fritz out of this race. Also, the 17 of Norman took a pretty good hit to the right side of his race car too. So tough ordeal for them. But look at this. It stops again. coming through for majority of the field, and I think you're the reason for this one, Robert. This puts them right in the edge of the window to make it to the end here.
Yeah, I was looking at it. They ran, what did they run in that first stand? 37 laps. So, yeah, it's going to put them right there. If we don't have a green, white, checkered, they should be like a lap or two to the good. But again, like you guys were saying, you know, Sam and everybody, you know, you and Sam, you know, they're downshifting, so you are using more fuel by downshifting. You're not saving fuel when you get them RPMs to jump up. It's sucking more fuel.
Definitely is a factor for sure, and we'll see now with the way pit stops just happened there. Everybody, for majority of them, at least looking through the timings. Pretty much everybody just taking fuel there, Robert, of course. I think that was the right call for majority of the field here. The tires don't fall off too much, and they only had a few laps on them. And then, again, this just put them in the perfect window to make it to the end of this event. And what this has allowed is Johnny Wood Jr. to get back to the front row. That's huge for him because, again, he was having a tough time getting around the cars that were in third place there to get up to third to run those top two down. Now this resets it all, puts him right here on even footing with them, and he's also got his teammate Richard Walsifer there to fight with him.
I was just ready. You took the words right out of my mouth. So you got two teammates on the top, two teammates on the bottom, and then you got Stephen Borbell back there all by himself, and not having no teammates around him right now. So this is going to be interesting. And we also got to give a shout out to Ben right now. Ben's looking good. He's in the top 7, top 8 right now. Carl is still in the top 10, Zach, after losing his front end and getting that thing fixed. He's in the top 10 on the lead lap. So what a great rebound for some of these drivers that were involved in some of this stuff early. But here we go. Gonna get ready to go back green here. Flag racing here at the BRB Racing League, sponsored by Sundance Pizza. As all right, green flag is out. Boogity boogity boogie, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. Brandon Maddox, great start for him, but it's Dustin Stallings, the one from the second lane, trying to make the move on the likes of the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr., but he makes sure to put it on the door of the 00 and just doesn't allow that race car to turn as well as he thought. But it's still side by side down the back straightaway. The help of the draft from the 23 ahead pulls the 00 alongside as they go into 3 and 4. Stallings should be able to clear, but it's Wood Jr. fighting back to the quarter panel. It's going to be close-knit racing here off of 4 as Stallings will get control of second.
Stallings gets second over Wood, and then Wood got his teammate Richard back there behind him. Ben Keeney in that 41 going through that last turn in 3 and 4. He went way high. He missed the turn by a mile, but he got it all back under control. Zachary Maddox here. Wow, yeah, I was just gonna say he's wheeling it right now. He looks a little loose. This thing don't look too happy for him right now.
Yellow flag is out here.
Oh.
Gonna have a wreck on the back straightaway. Let's see who that was.
Is that Evan again? Yes.
Looks like it was Evan. Yeah, Evan Patinko, and that's a race ender for Evan here, I think, as he had to tow that race car back to pit road. This is going to be a heavy hit. We saw his incident down in 3 and 4. Gotten a little too deep, had to jab that brake to stay out of the hit and pooler, and actually pulls it behind the wall as we're watching this replay. Patinko, though, a little too much aggressive here off of the corner exit, and that thing just snaps on him, and that's an easy place to do it. I did some laps, just very bumpy there. The car gets upset, you kind of commit, before you're fully ready to get off the corner, and next thing you know it, the car's snapping on you, and he's head first into that barrier. So tough ordeal for the 81 team, but he'll be looking to next week at Michigan after a tough night at Motegi.
Yeah, and that's another driver here as we're watching. He gets down on the apron, snap, hang on, and into the wall hard, and blows the motor, and his night is done. And he is another driver, Zach, that was battling to try to get into the playoffs. So, interesting.
Really was. Yeah, he's that is just a tough sign for him, because you don't want to, put yourself in a position where you're going to Michigan where you have to perform more than what you would hope. And sometimes that is the case there when you have a tough race like you had here tonight. But we'll see now what happens here. Brendan Maddox, of course, great restart from him last time they get out front. Now, Dustin Stallings in that second spot. He has been, kind of just lurking there tonight. He's had that moment where he got the lead. He stayed out off that first yellow, had kind of lost the track position, had to find it back throughout the middle part of this race. He's gotten back to second now. He's gotten around Johnny Wood Jr. And Wood Jr. also, he's come to pit road.
And took 4 tires.
Yeah, and he's going to be 16th, though.
Yeah, but with 30 laps to go, I don't know. You said that the lap times are basically, leveling out. Like, it's really hard, as you can see on new tires and old tires. Maddox showed that. Brandon there in the 23 showed old tires. So, I don't know about this call, Zach.
Yeah, when we got some yellow flags there during those latest few restarts, it was 36 flats. What majority of the field was running. That's about a couple hundredths off the fast lap of the race. Concern for me is, yes, I think he will be able to work his way through the field. I just think he's going to be so far behind the people he would have been battling for the lead late into this race that he just won't have the time to run him down with the tire advantage just drifting the more laps we put in. So it's an interesting call. We'll see if it works out. If it does, I will give him credit and say I'm wrong, but I am sitting here right now telling you I think staying out would have been a better situation for that 75 team. But again, he's out there driving the race car. He's filling it out. That sometimes gives you the better feel.
Well, that too. We'll see how that all plays out because, here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we seen some crazy stuff, and his name is Nick Crawford. When we all just called him out and went, what are you doing? And every time we say that, it works out. So this could work out for Wood, too, as Red's laughing at me out there. Yes, I said Johnny Wood. Wood. So anyways, getting ready to go back green. Now we got teammates from starting first and second here, Zach. Do they play nice with each other with 30 laps to go, or do they decide it's time to go? I'm going for the win as Maddox gets a great launch on there on the high side.
He really does. Great launch for him. Now Borbell fighting for that third spot with Richard Wolsifer, who's going to get a little tight as he's stacked up behind the 00 Stallings, but he's able to gather his car, keep it straight for the time being. Is off of turn 2. It's side by side. Zachary Maddox finding his way up into the top 5 as Jacob Quayle up into the mix 2 here in the 25. This race is turned on upside down here as everybody scattered here for position.
They're scattering and they're going for it. They don't know the 99 around. Oh,
big
the
wreck
big
off
one.
of 4.
Adam involved. Ben involved. Who else do we got? We got Dakota Blythe involved. Wow, half
Cameron
of the back
Taylor's
of the field
is
done.
Wood Jr. was involved in that. They're pitting, and that is,
And he got a meatball.
He got a pretty good lick. Yeah, he's broken suspension on the 75 team, and this is a situation of putting yourself in the back half of the field late in the go, and the restarts get more aggressive. You see Eric Jensen here, the 99. He's racing with the likes of Ben Kinney here down the back straightaway. He's going the 99 on the inside of this 41, down into 3 and 4. I think the contact is made here off the corner exit as they got Carl Pooler right ahead of him. Yeah, as you're going to see Pooler and Jensen come together off of 4, and next thing you know, Ben Kinney's scattering left. There's multiple cars involved in it, and it's just race over for Johnny Wood Jr., one of our major contenders.
We'll go back here and going inside here with Ben and see what kind of view he's seen here. But yeah, you see that Carl just went down a little bit, and unfortunately, but we'll actually see pretty good here, I do believe, as we'll see right there. The car just came down, snapped, and nowhere for Ben to go, nowhere for Adam to go, and before you know it, we just have a whole bunch of cars all over.
And you can see, nowhere for Ben Kinney to go there. As soon as he gets hit, it breaks his car to the left, and from there, there's cars on the inside. And man, oh man, just continues to spiral for others as Johnny Wood Jr. looks like his night's over. He actually drops due to connection. So that is a probable winner, a possible winner in the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. Now going to be finishing outside the top 17 as it looks like 17 cars remain out on the racetrack.
Yeah. Ever since I came in the booth, they're starting to drop like a fly.
I know. Robert's bringing Carnage with him. Good job, Robert.
Well, you know, that's what I do. I know how to bring out the yellows, apparently.
Hey, well, we're under that BRB Sundance Pro Series yellow flag right now as Maddox looking to get another win in the win column and add to his points total that he's accumulated, and it's been really consistent runs for that 23 that's really propelled him to be in the position he is. It looks like it's going to be tough to get that regular season win from him.
Well, not only that, if he gets this win here, that actually helps him out a little bit too, Zach, because he did get deducted points with a penalty last week. So, you know, getting the win basically shows everybody, you know, you can penalize me, but guess what? I'm still going to get the win. I'm going to make up them points.
Yeah, I'll make sure that
Right.
penalty doesn't matter too much.
Right. Yeah, that's basically what he did.
He definitely did, and I mean his competition tonight coming into tonight was Coulter Clark and Adam Buzzio for the closest in points. Clark, he's P22, last in the field.
Yeah.
And then the other driver, Adam Buzzio, just involved in the latest wreck. He's outside the top 10. So again, it's 23 doing what he needs to do as we head to Michigan for the final regular season race next week. He's definitely putting himself in position to win that regular season championship, and that I think is one of the first checks you need to kind of get off the box for going into the chase. If you can get that regular season win, it just allows you to have that much more confidence, a little bit of added points, and I think this 23 might be the favorite when it's all coming down to playoff time to be the man to beat as they get ready to come to the restart zone. Robert, we get ready to bring them back to green flag racing, and it's going to be 25 laps to go here at the Twin Ring Motegi as the green flag is out and Maddox is back on the gas pedal as Stallings not able to get the jump. He needs to stay alongside, but the 23 will clear. The 00 should hold on the second.
Yeah, 00 should hold on the second. We'll see here. Richard's going to try to go on here. We got Stephen Borbell right up to 56 Bud right now. And then we got that 25. Oh, man, he is... We talked a little bit about him, but Jacob is now on his way up to the front.
Jacob Quayle is trying his best to get his best running order of the night, but it's very tough to make that pass on the outside sometimes. But he's done a good enough job to stay alongside, and that's what you got to do. If you're able to get the fight through the center of the corner, the 25 does it. He clears down in the one, put Jacob Quayle up to the fourth spot.
Up to fourth place, and now he's going to try to run down the number 56 there, Richard, there that's running in third place right now, a top three for him. That would be a good rebound after a couple, hiccups in the past 2 weeks that he had going on. But right now you can see he's trying to run down Dustin right now, but Dustin Stallings, but I don't know if he's going to have anything for him right now. Because now we're just getting single file. We do got Ronnie Norman back here in that 17 machine. He is trying to work his way around the 18, which he finally makes that clear there, Zach.
Yeah, and he was involved in a wreck, multiple laps ago at that Scott Fritz incident. Had some major right side damage, has had some yellows to get that thing fixed up, and now moving his way forward near the back half of this race as we check to Adam Buzzio breaking his way up into the top 10. He's going to have the freshest tires of the drivers in this grouping of the field. Let's see if he can make utilization of that and get, a late great run here for him.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do that there as he's going to try to do his best. Catch down Walker there in that 18 machine. As we go back looking here right now, we got Cole Lewis in that 52 machine. Nice shot. Oh, that a blue camo? Yes, it's a blue camo paint scheme. He's back here running up in 11th position, working his way up through, trying to get around Maple Jr. in that 12 machine, and we'll see if he can do anything, but looks like everybody's basically got single file now here, Zach.
Everybody single filed for the time being as a move looking to be made at any moment. These drivers will do it, as right now Stallings kind of stalking his teammate a little bit. As look, Buzzio makes the move for 8th. Great move for him. He's up another spot on those fresh tires. Can he continue his march forward? He just ran his fastest lap of the race that last time by. That 5 showing some great pace. Another driver showing great pace. Again, the 25 of Jacob Quall. He is right there on the back bumper of Richard Wolsifer, and he is trying to make the charge into the top 3.
Right, he's trying to make it in the top 3, but I'd keep an eye on Adam right now here. He's only 7 laps on his stint, and everybody else is on 16 laps, so we'll see. Right now, he's running, like you said, he's running his fastest lap, and he is slowly catching Ronnie and Zachary Maddox right now.
He is. How well can he get by this group? And as Norman has also caught up to the likes of Maddox, as he makes a big wiggle off of 4, has to slide back up against the wall. But will Buzzio be able to get the job done here quickly, or will there be a fight on his hands? That's the real problem that he's going to have if he wants to try to get up here and fight for a possible top 5, a possible podium. But right now, it's that 17 trying to get the run on the 14, but just a little too tight off of 2.
All right, well, I got to do a name correction here since I'm getting yelled at. Richard Wolf is doing really good.
Richard Wolf, yeah.
That's what I was told. Yeah, I'm told his name is Wolf. So, go Wolf. Wolf, or Wolfie. Wolf. All right, I'm just having fun. Sorry. I'm not a Sam. That. I don't know how to be serious. That's my problem.
Gotta love that. Check back up to that lead. And, I say that, Buzzio in the background, he's making another move side by side with him for Ronnie Norman. And if Buzzio was able to get up to 7th here, he continue that charge, this is going to be quite the ending for his night, because this is going to propel him enough to where it somewhat keeps it in a questionable matter if he can get that, regular season championship next week in Michigan if the likes of Brendan Max has some issues. So this is really important, getting valuable points back here in the battle for that championship.
Yeah, he's slowly clipping the field away here, and we're going to see if he can run down Zachary Maddox as he's going to look on the outside, get the clean air, and I do believe he's going to try to do a crossover. As Ronnie Norman almost got down underneath him, but gave him room there. Good driving by Ronnie, and now Adam is now going to go down here into turn 1, and he's going to get under Zachary here, and he should make that clear on the fresher tires, and he does. And look at that, he's up to the top 6.
Great job for Adam Buzzio, making great moves throughout this run on the fresher tires. Got caught up in that wreck and that incident, utilized that time to come down, and now starting to make the moves. As Ronnie Norman said, you know what, Buzzio made it happen, I'm going to make it happen. Also put the 17 up to the 7th position. And in the background also Greg Walker in the 18. He's trying to make the pass on Maddox now.
Yeah, Maddox is just struggling here right now. As we'll go back here and ride with Walker here. As you can see, Maddox is holding on right now. As you can see him really, look at him. He's out of the gas, in the gas, out of the gas, in the gas. And man, this track, these guys are really fighting it. You can just watch the wheel movement in this.
Definitely a lot of fighting the wheel, a lot of fighting the balance of the race cars. You see Maddox way up the track. That's going to allow Walker to get himself by. And now put Gray Walker up to 8th. Zachary Maddox back to 9th, as he'll have the likes of William Maple Jr. trying to keep him out of the clutches of himself and falling back to 10th. But right now, there's been a lot of good little battles all around this track, but it's Dustin Stallings who's been putting the pressure on our leader of Brendan Maddox up front. Can he do it, get by his teammate? I think that's going to be the tough question, as you also got the 56 of Richard trying to hold on to his 3rd spot with Jacob bearing down on him with that 25 machine.
Jacob, and not only that, don't forget about Stephen
Look at
Borbell.
Borbell.
Yeah, he's back there running in the top 5. He's actually in 5th right now, but right now I think Dustin Stallings needs to figure out the dirty air. I think the dirty air is affecting him pretty much right now, and I think he needs to change his line. If there is a way to change your line here, Zach, maybe he needs, with 13 laps to go, maybe he needs to look at a different line right now, or he can just be content and just let his teammate, take that win.
I think he's fighting for every little thing he can. He knows he wants to get that victory, get himself farther up the points, and just position himself before the chase, get another win added to his belt also. So I don't think there's anything being left on the table right now from this double zero. I think the issue, it is just very tough. Once you get to this front end of the field, these drivers are all so talented, so much consistency, so much pace from them, that once you get up to that front half, it just gets really tough to pass. And it becomes then Maddox placing his car in the right spots. If he's taking away the air, I don't think this double zero is going to have a chance. But if he starts making a little mistake, slipping up, opening up the bottom, that's where the double zero will pounce and take his opportunities. But if you're Maddox, we saw what Wood Jr. did to him earlier in the race by just being able to really hit his marks, keep it right there along the bottom, and give him the dirty air all the way around this racetrack. He was able to fight off that 23, who looked to be the quicker race car.
Yeah, the 23 is quicker race car, and I have to say, all race though, that 23 look really strong all race. I mean, he put it on the pole. Car don't look evil on him. It looks like he's got it, under control pretty good, and I think he figured out this track. So I just think it's going to be hard for Dustin, to get by him. But again, all it does is take one little boop, and like you said, Dustin will be right there.
And definitely, that's all it does take is Maddox. We're right on board with him to get a sense what his car is feeling like with 10 laps to go here in Japan for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Maddox, our points leader, looking to add to his win total this season. Has got 2 victories so far. Was looking to add maybe a third to tie Coulter Clark in that 4 machine for the most victories so far this season. This is an interesting track, Robert, and I think it takes a lot of preparation and getting prepared for it. And I think a lot of people bring up about Maddox, he prepares himself. He runs the practice lap. You got to respect that. He puts in the time, and man, it definitely shows out on the racetrack. And I think at a track like this, where everybody's kind of learning so much, if you put in practice laps and you're able to get out there and really work on this thing, you can really put together some great habits, so to say. So he's done a good job, and got to give him credit though for doing that.
Oh yeah, I mean that just goes with rhythm and rhymes, right? Or rhythms. It's like riding a bicycle. Once you do it, you learn it. And
caution.
Now this changes everything.
Lewis.
Oh
the
no.
52. Looks like, I don't know. It looks like, racing the likes of Cameron Taylor in the 42 down in 3 and 4. So some contact being made between these two, and that's going to bring out a yellow late in the going here at Japan, as Twin Ring Motegi has gotten the best of a few. Cole Lewis here racing with this 42. This was a battle for the 13th spot on the racetrack. Just a little tight there, a little contact. Tried to clear after that, and just could not clear. Washed up the track. The 42 is holding his ground, and that spins the 52 across the 42's nose.
Well, now the question comes down: who has tires and who don't? Who pits and who does? I don't think anybody's going to pit with 7 laps to go. I would imagine not.
Lap time wise, right there, leaders running 36.2s, 36.3s. That's about a half second off our fastest lap of the day. So there is some time to be gained.
Here we
and
go.
Look, here they go. They're coming down. So this is interesting calls to be made. And look, we got some takers that's staying out. I love to see this. Borbell, Adam Buzzio, and I believe also you're going to have the likes of Ben Kinney stay out here on this restart. This is going to set some interesting things up. If Borbell, Buzzio can get away, get clear of that 23, and he gets held up a little bit, they can definitely hold on to this. But it's going to be a barn burner of a showstopper right here. Is 140 laps. This thing could very well come down to the last one.
Well, my thinking here, Zach, is that I'm worried. I'm a little worried about Borbell. He's on 30 lap stint on them tires. Now, it made sense for Ben and Adam to stay out because they are 21 laps on their stint. So them two guys got a lot better tires than, that 2 machine. So we seen what happened with Cameron. It's great for a lap or two, and then it starts falling off. But these tires here, I'm not sure if they do them here. You would know more, but running under caution, the tire temps go down. It brings them to life a little bit. Will this bring them to life just enough to hold off the field on fresher tires?
That's where I kind of go with, the saying, Robert, is, it is so questionable for sometimes making these pit calls, but I like the call of risking it here to stay out for a few. I know how well the tires cool down here on this sim, and sometimes, late in the going like this is getting to, look, the sun is starting to set in the background. There's no lights on this track, so that's why you're seeing it get so dark here, so to say, and that's really making things very, very interesting. Is, look, here we go. Eric Jensen also in Wolsifer, because he won the race off of pit road, he didn't win the race off pit road. It's just he's ahead of Max at the time, but that's going to have them in the 3rd row. I really like the case for Borbell and Buzzio if they can get a great start here, man. This is a really, really interesting time, and it's going to be 4 to go when they come around. 4 laps, I think it's possible to hold off. We've seen how quick Maddox is, but if he gets held up a little tiny bit, it could very well go to these other 2.
Only thing I'm worried, and we've seen an aggressive driving at the beginning of the race, is Maddox willing, and he is willing to put a bumper to a bumper. So, he will block and he will push, and I'm just hoping that, these guys up front are prepared and ready and got both hands on the wheel and is laser focused as we're going to find out here. 4 laps to go. Do we hit a green-white checkered here tonight or not? But we'll find out as Steven Borbell and Adam will bring it to the green flag. Here we go, Zach.
And here we go. Green flag is out. 4 laps to go here at the BRB Sundance Pro Series at the Twin Ring Motegi. Borbell, what an excellent start. Adam Buzzio able to slide into 2nd, and it's Eric Jensen sliding into 3rd with Ben Kinney holding on the 4th, but it's Maddox in the 23, the freshest tires of the field, fighting his way forward. He's on the outside of the 41, but for the time being, he's just holding on for 4th. He's going to be having to look to get around as Jensen making the move on Adam Buzzio here.
Wow, and Ben Keenan almost got into that 23, and now the 23 is sliding not to get into the 5. Oh, we got a car going around, and we are going to have a green-white checkered, ladies and gentlemen.
That we are. Borbell holds on to the lead. Eric Jensen up to 2nd. Buzzio to 3rd. Brendan Maddox to 4th, as we'll have to check out and see what exactly played out there. As I think Stan Stoccaro is the car that spun around in the 27 machine. So see exactly what happened, but I think it was some oh no, sorry. It looks like he got loose off of 4, and then finally the 14 unfortunately makes contact, and he hits that inside wall so hard there. That's going to hurt that race car for a little bit. But man, oh man, this is going to set us into green-white checkered as we take one more look at this.
We're going to take a look at this and watch all 4 tires actually go off the track, I do believe. That's how hard he hit it. As you can see, go into the turn. He's almost going to get a bump, and then he's going to get loose. He gets loose right here. Gets a little love tap, and yep, all 4 tires off.
Definitely a hard hit there for Dan Stoccaro.
Don't
Tough
open that can of Pepsi.
Yeah, that can of Pepsi is a little crushed, unfortunately, but we'll see now as we got some few takers coming to pit road. I think some damage repairs, some drivers looking to just hang out at the back there to get their best finish. But this has set up some scenes. Jensen, look at him in the 99, Robert. That is a great sign for him. What a job that could be. If he could get a podium, that would be an excellent career night.
Oh, most definitely. Now, the question is does he split up Oh, they do they? No, they don't have the choose rule here anymore. So never mind. So yeah, that we'll see. Yeah, I mean, what a great run for him. So hopefully he can get a podium finish here, and we'll get to be able to talk to him. But we got a green white checkered, so we'll wait and find out here.
That we will, and I tell you, this is where I'm thinking. Adam Buzzio and Stephen Borbell, two teammates here on two different rows. What do they do? What is the decision? What's the talking? They know they're both on older tires. I'm sure, Buzzio is willing to play the team game here to make sure that Borbell gets a great start and has, an optimal time to win this race possibly.
Right.
I think if anything, they're going to line up on the inside here and try to time this restart very well with each other, if anything. I mean, and maybe you trap that 23 behind the 99 with a not great restart and the 5 gets clear, and then from there, Borbell is going to have to hang on. So this is dire times. The pace car lights are out, and I think, like I said, going to the inside is that 2 machine.
Yeah, and here we go. He's going on the inside. He's going to have his teammate behind him. The 99 is going to have the 23, and I can guarantee you this much. That 23 is already setting him up right now. He's giving him love taps and pushing him a little bit and saying, okay, all right, Eric, this is what's going to happen when we go into turn 1. Hang on.
That's for sure. He is going to be raring at the bit to get around that 99, and it's so easy sometimes to just get a little too over aggressive and just make that mistake, and it actually hurts you by pushing that guy in front of you just a little too hard. So we'll see how this works out. Brendan Maddox was looking at a possible victory not too long ago. Then the cautions started to fly. Drivers stay out. Some drivers pit. Borbell, though, the driver in position here with a green-white checkered. Our first one here, attempt here at the BRB Sundance Pro Series at the Twin Ring Motegi. Stephen Borbell looking for a possible victory here tonight. What a scene that would be for him, too. He really needs this one, as he was a driver near that cut line. Came in here 9th in points here tonight. No wins yet this season. He's looking to add to that total. As now they get towards the restart zone. The green is out, and it's a great start from that bottom line. And look, Maddox is going to have to dive to the inside. He immediately shots to the inside of the Jensen, and now he'll be looking to slide up into third. If you're Buzzio, you got to get down. Give that air to the 23. Don't let him get to the quarter panel.
As Steve.
Oh, he's spinning.
Oh,
he spun.
Wow, the 23 goes around our points leader. No, he does save it. No, yellow is out. Oh my goodness, we are going to green white checkered attempt number 2.
Wow, yeah, the 23 big slide for him, but it was a bigger one from the 25 of Jacob Quayle. And man, oh man, that brings us back to another green white checkered attempt here, as Borbell is going to have to refire back off. This time, going to have Dustin Stallings as one of those drivers up there on the fresher tires. But you can see the slide, and look, the 23 was sliding, the 25 was looking to get by, and then all of a sudden he breaks loose and spins around. So everybody going for it off of there too. And that is the one thing I felt during the practice laps I got this week, Robert, just to try out this track and see how it felt for these guys. Off of 2, you had moments where if you tried to get more, it would really snap on the rear end, and next thing you know, you're losing that rear end and going around. And right here, Jacob Quayle looking for a great run in that.
Oh, he bounced off the 99.
Yeah, he made contact a little bit, got a little tight, and when he made that contact, it just upset that car even more.
Well, we call that synchronized swimming. And that's basically what the 25 and the 23 just did. The 25 was going around, and the 23 was going around. The 25 said, "Hey, that looks cool. I want to try it."
That he definitely didn't want to. He didn't want to join that party, but unfortunately he did, and he got the worst.
I think you're gonna have to take it over, Zach, because I just feel bad. I came up in the booth, and now it's nothing but carnage. Like, come on, guys, you're making me look bad here.
That's for sure. And now the question is going to be, what did they do on this restart here at Borbell? I mean, now you got your 2 teammates on the front row. I'd imagine if you're Borbell, you go to the inside here. You try to get the better restart on this inside. and hope your teammate can fight off the 99, at least down in the 1 and 2. And then from there, he's going to have the likes of Dustin Stallings on that second row on the top side. He'll be the first one looking with the newer tires to get up there and going, and he is weaving back and forth. He's trying to build the heat. He's trying to have grip, because we saw Maddox, he went for it there. He had the look to the inside of the 5, and as soon as he tried to get there, that car just started to break loose. Those newer tires not up to temperature, still cold. It's tough to put that power down off of 2.
That it is, as we are going to bring up the race report here tonight, as we have 10 cautions. Caution laps are 26 laps. Lead changes at the line is 10. Number of lead changes is only 5. So not too bad of a race. I mean, yeah, the caution flags are up a little bit, but it's been very aggressive driving from, majority of the field here tonight.
And also a tough track to drive. I mean, this is a very, very demanding track that the setup has to have compromises, and that's where you get these balance things where the cars are holding on, you're shifting in certain spots, you're doing things that you're just not normally used to. So yeah, it's definitely a consideration for all. And the only thing that's kind of going through my mind here, Robert, with these cautions we've had, I hope some of these guys have saved some fuel too. Borbell, 39 laps on this stint here. Oh, that would be the concern for me for him. If anything, he needs to hopefully get this done within regulation this time, because if we go any farther, I think there may be an issue for him. I think the other thing that plays out for him, we got 9 minutes left technically in this session, as these guys have a 2-hour limit on their races. It can get close there also with that if we get a late yellow here, as we're coming to get ready for the second attempt at a green-white checkered here to end tonight at Motegi. Steven Borbell, he's put himself in position, stayed out, had a few good restarts. The other drivers on new tires have flipped around, made some mistakes, and it is now new players in the field as the green is out. Borbell's off and away. This is a good restart from his teammate Abuzio. It's going to keep it side by side as Jensen in the background. He's looking to block. He throws the big move on the 23 as here comes the 23 of Brendan Maddox is now Borbell fighting clear of his teammate Abuzio. Is 3 wide off of 2 as Dustin Stallings goes around the outside. Brendan Maddox off of 2, though, sliding up in the 3rd.
I was just ready to say, Brendan Maddox is going to slide up the 3rd. Now, if I was them 2 guys, I'd keep an eye on that 23, because he's coming with the head of the steam, and so is his teammate. As Adam's going to look below, as we're going to get ready for 1 to go here. As, oh, nope, they wreck. Oh, no.
And we stay green. White flag is out. Dustin Stallings on the back bumper. Adam Buzzio's no driver spun around. Brendan Maddox in the background as Richard Wolfsford makes the move. They're wrecking there. The 99 goes around with the 23 as they got big incidents off in the middle of 1 and 2, but it's for the lead. Stephen Borbell now having the block thrown into the inside as the 00 of Dustin Stallings. Can Borbell hold him off? We've seen all night. So. The outside line has been strong, but I think he goes too high, too deep. Stallings gets the run through the center of the corner, and he is going to go back to back here as he wins at Twin Ring Motegi. It is the 00. Dustin Stallings, your winner here tonight.
Wow, and the wolf finished. Oh, and do we got extracurricular activity going here? The 23 just ran right into the 56. Now, I don't know if that's celebration or what it was.
I don't think he was too happy with Richard. I know in like looking back at it, I don't think Richard really did anything to him. So definitely an interesting decision there to retaliate to him. But man, oh man, Dustin Stallings, another victory, 2 in a row. It took a while to get back to victory lane for him. He's had the speed each and every week almost time when he's out there, but it just hasn't worked out. But tonight, it's back to back for him. The door was opened up. Borbell makes the mistake off of 2 or off of 4 or into 3. That gives him the opportunity, and he gets the job done. So Stallings back in victory lane. We'll get geared up for post-race shows. It's me and Robert Moyer Jr. here. We'll go get our top 3, and we'll be back here after a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We are back here at the Twin Ring Motegi for BRB, the Sundance Pro Series, as it was back-to-back moments here. As it was Dustin Stallings still in the win, late in the going here at the Twin Ring Motegi. Let's hear from this driver on his back-to-back victories. Hey, Dustin and Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, buddy, what a job there to get that one done, man. Take us through that there and how you feel about that one, because I'm sure off of 2 there on that restart, you probably didn't think it was going to end up in your hands there.
Yeah. Basically, when that caution come out with, I think it was like 7 or 8 laps to go, that basically set up for the green white checkers. I think me and Brendan had like a 2.5, almost 3-second gap to third, and me and him were basically just gonna battle it out. And that caution come out, and we were like, do we need to take tires or stay out? And we're like, to be sure, everybody's got to take tires. So me and him dipped in and took our last set, and then we seen, I think it was like 7 or 8 people, I think it was, that stayed out. Adam, Steven, Richard, but it did not look like we were going to get there. But luckily, the cautions kind of fell at the right time to be able to make some moves. But I didn't think the line that I took going into 1 and 2 on that last restart was going to work. But luckily, it kind of worked out in my favor. And once I kind of got clear into third or whatever, I need to go back and watch it. It happened so quick. But once I had my sights set on Steven coming to the white flag, and I felt pretty confident. I know I was going to have to work for it, and I tried to move them in 1 and 2, but I didn't want to hit them too hard where it'll just get them sideways and not really fight it out for the win. But me and Steven were talking a while ago before you guys pulled me up here that he said that I kind of spooked him going into 3 coming to the checkered, because he was surprised on how deep I could go into 3 and kind of keep it on the bottom. So that he kind of basically drove it in just as deep to try to stay with me. But I think the tires just basically helped me get around them there. I was able to get to the throttle pretty quick, but I can't believe it. That 2 weeks in a row, a track that I basically bought, I think it was Thursday. So I didn't really know much about this track, but was able to figure it out. And I struggled kind of mid to late run on some of the long runs, but once I kind of figured my tire wear out and stuff and what I needed to adjust, it kind of just fell into place there. But overall, it was still pretty surprised, to be honest.
It was definitely a wild finish. I'm sure I get that feeling having to go back and look at that too there, because that was definitely some great moves you guys pulled there to get in position, Dustin. You had to also make a lot of moves to get through the field here tonight. You know, early in the going, you stay out on that first stage. You like to come back down on one of the next cautions. You had to make a lot of passes. We saw passing was kind of tough here tonight. So take us through that. You know, do you take that as like a valued time, you know, learning how to get through the field at that point?
I'd say it kind of comes like kind of a factor that comes into play is kind of learning like the aero of these cars and kind of try to keep the left front corner of your nose and like just like a half a lane half a lane below the car in front of you to keep some sort of downforce on the front end. Because if you are either directly following somebody or to the right side a little bit, you're just no front downforce. And then I think practicing just kind of doing like full push runs, like just throwing everything at it and kind of seeing what the tire wear is like, tire temps. And we also try to practice as a team whenever we all have time to get together and basically just throw haymakers at each other and try to get a feel for how aggressive it could be and what to expect. But passing was tough. Just I think it was because of the dirty air. Because some guys would enter hide and cross down and cross your nose and just take all that air off your car, so you just lose that drive off. But overall, I think just time and experimenting with what works and what doesn't, and kind of knowing what to expect with just how the aerodynamics are with this car.
It definitely is a learning phase for sure throughout the race, I'm sure. But man, what a job getting that done here tonight, Dustin. It's back-to-back victories. I mean, adding 2 wins to the win column here right before we head to the chase. But before we let you get out here and go celebrate this thing, man, anybody want to send a shout to on that 00 team?
Give a shout out to you guys first, and I love going back and watching you guys' broadcasts. I can't wait to go back and watch this one. All the admins with BRB, sponsors, partners that is just a part of this that makes this thing what it is and gives us a place to race every Tuesday night. I really enjoy it. Big shout out to Adam and Steven and some of the shows that stayed out. It wasn't easy pulling it off. It made me work for it, even with them on old tires. So props to those guys for almost like making those tires work like they did. Shout out to my teammates. I think Brendan, he had a pretty decent finish, but he had a little get together. Shout out to Zach Maddox also. He's kind of been out for a while because of work and stuff, and for him to come back and finish 12th, I feel like that's pretty good for him for all the times he's missed. I mean, Carl with the P10, good points race. But all in all, shout out to my wife and my daughters also. We got a third one on the way. We should be having our new baby being born within like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So shout out to them, love them to death, and that's all I got there.
Well, Dustin, man, congrats so much on the victory, man. I'm sure there's a lot of momentum heading into Michigan next week, and you have a wonderful night, man.
Thank you guys.
All right, folks, that was your race winner here tonight from the Twin Ring Motegi, Dustin Stallings. What a job from him here, as we are going to move on to second, the driver who felt the taste of victory, possibly right there on the cusp, and unfortunately it slipped away, but I'm sure still a great run for him tonight, as we'll talk to our second place driver here tonight, the number 2, Stephen Borbell. Hey, Stephen, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
It's going great, man. Well, I tell you what, it was so close, buddy. We were thinking you had it there for a moment, and then down the back straightaway, that 00 got to your inside. Take us through those final moments, those final restarts, because I'm sure it had to be nerve-wracking stuff on those older tires.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking. Adam and I decided just to stay out and, see what would happen kind of thing. And if a couple of those first restarts went green the rest of the way, I think I would have felt better. It just so happened that Dustin was there in 1 and 2 in that last restart, and I knew I was in trouble. I had a chance to salvage it, but then Dustin was able to send it in really deep into 3. I think it just honestly spooked me, and I forgot how to drive the race car for a corner. So unfortunate to give it up that way, but I mean, Dustin deserved it. He was probably the fastest car, if not Brendan, all night. So
definitely a great call though from yourself, Steven, to stay out there, man. You and a couple other cars make that call there. Take us through that, because I mean, you have been a top 5 car for majority of the night. But you elect to stay out there. We were up in the booth, we were on board with it, and it definitely almost panned out.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just thinking of, you know what, we haven't run terribly long on these tires. Yeah, we're going to be on a little bit of a disadvantage, but track position just seemed to be so much more valuable than a little bit of tires, and especially with only, I think, 4 to go when we took the first restart. It seemed like a no-brainer I was thinking at worst I'd fall back to where I was. So at that point, it was like once I saw them go in, it's take the gamble, get a couple cautions, and it fell into our lap for us, thankfully. It just feels good to finally be back in the podium for this season's been a nightmare on multiple fronts, so it's just good to get something steady.
That's kind of where I was going to go next, Steven. We've seen you kind of claw your way back into the top 12 these last few weeks. I'm sure it's been trying times, but it's got to feel great to get to this finish here tonight, especially as we head to our final regular season race next week in Michigan.
Oh, most definitely, Zach, and especially so I'm not even going to be here next week for the regular season finale. I'm going to be on a work trip, so knowing that a couple weeks ago. I knew I had to get at least a decent enough point cushion to miss the race and still be okay. I mean, granted, in the chase, I'm also going to miss another race. Like it's just another season of just missing a bunch of races, unfortunately. But I'm still here the weeks I can be having fun each week, and that's the goal for me. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully getting a win before the end of the season.
Well, Steve, we'll definitely be rooting you on, man. We always know you're going to be a factor up there at the front end of the field. But before we let you get out here tonight and go celebrate the P2 finish, anybody want to send a shout to?
Yeah, Zach, you and Robert both freaky fast. We've had a great partnership with you guys, and we appreciate everything y'all do, and obviously the friendship on top of that. Additionally, I want to give a shout out to my wife and everyone who watches me. Max, if you're watching. Big shout out to you, but obviously my family as well, and my teammates. Adam, unfortunate incident that happened there at the end with him. Hate to see it, but it's one of those things. And yeah, I appreciate everything y'all do.
Well, Steven, thank you for the kind words, buddy, and we will catch you the week after Michigan, and you have a great week off, bud.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was your second place driver here tonight of Steven Borbell. What a job from him. So close to the cups of history for him. And it's got to be right there on his fingertips looking for the rest of the season to try to get that victory and get that satisfaction of it. Because getting those wins like that, I know that's got to go a long way for someone who's been a veteran of this series. But now we'll move on to third, a driver who made a big move. I mean, 3 wide into 1. We'll talk to him about that move. It's your third place man, Richard Wolsifer. Let's hear from him. Hey, Richard, is Zach up in the booth? You got a copy?
Hey, Zach, sure do, man.
Well, man, I tell you what, take us through the final restarts there. We'll ask you some more questions about other stuff later, but that was a big move there in the 1, and you made that thing work.
Honestly, yeah. I took 2 tires instead of 4 to try to get in front of some of the guys that were faster. I got a little bit of a disadvantage because I got behind, and nothing against him, Ben Keeney, just couldn't get going on every restart, so it was hard to get to him and then get around him or to the inside of him going into the turns. But the 2 tires really helps that car grip and just turn and just kind of sits on rails. Got a little lucky there with the wreck with Steven and Adam going across Brendan's nose. Then Eric Jensen, who's part of Synergy, he's part of our kind of like alliance. He almost came across my nose behind Brendan, and he got underneath Brendan. So I shipped it to the bottom because I knew Eric didn't have, fresh tires, and just drove it around on the inside of them while they were kind of door banging each other. So, and then after that I was actually hoping Dustin and Steven might have gotten into each other, but they kept it green or kept it clean. And, I'll take a podium after having to start it on EOL tonight.
Definitely a great finish for you still at the end of the day for that third place finish. I mean, you come in here also to start tonight, P12, right on that cusp of the cut line. I mean, take us through getting a big run like this before we head to Michigan next week, how important this is for you.
It's been a rough season, just unable to finish races. And there's been races that I was impressed that I even did as well as I did. Rockingham would have definitely helped propel me forward, and then having that, PC reset while I was leading by 5 seconds. I mean, that really hurt, but I've been able to kind of keep a little on the consistent side lately. I've been able to get some stage points finally. Just looked at the standings coming into here, and I have moved up to 10th, but we still have Michigan next week. I generally do really well there. So, outside looking in, it kind of looks like I should be able to make the chase as long as nothing crazy happens next week.
Definitely are going to be looking to see how that all works out next week. And speaking of next week, how do you feel about Michigan too? Do you know, what's the confidence level of that track? We know it is going to be very much a lot of drafting, a lot of big packs. How do you feel about that situation?
Well, it was the last track I got an actual win at. So I always loved Michigan. I know Carl and I, back when we were teammates, we actually almost got our first best finishes there before some late race cautions kind of ruined our 2-tire stop strategy back in the next gens. But always love Michigan. It's, high speed. I mean, there's a lot of different lanes you can take with these cars. Draft is huge. So just trying to stay out of trouble, not get any damage, and make the right calls on pit road to keep you with the pack and a chance to get up there up front.
Well, that's going to be, I think, a fun one to call for us up in the booth, a fun one for you guys to drive in the cars also, Richard. So before we let you get out here and go get prepared for next week, trying to get into that chase, anybody want to send a shout out to on that 5016?
Yeah, man, I want to shout out the teammates, Johnny and Scott. They've been a huge help with learning how to get faster each and every week. Unfortunate that they keep getting caught up in some stuff when we're all up front. I mean, I think all of us really do really well sticking together. So thanks to Scott and Johnny. Thanks to Stints Built. Gotta love these PCs, this beautiful teal that they have every single week. Simrap Market for the beautiful schemes that they provide as well. Track Racer. Gotta thank, you guys. You guys do a fantastic job up here each and every week. Love going back and rewatching it. And of course, the other admins a part of the team to help run this league. I appreciate Adam and everybody, Adam, Steven, Gavin, to help run this, Carl, Rev, everyone does a great job. And, I enjoy running every single week with every single one of these guys out on the track. So look forward to every week, every Tuesday.
It was definitely a fun night of racing here at Motegi. Congrats on P3, Richard. We'll catch you next week in Michigan.
Thanks, Zach. See you guys next week.
All right, that was your third place driver here tonight, a Richard Wolsifer. And what a job it was to pull that move off late in the going to get into that P3 position. We'll look to pull after, since we got our post-race show done and our interviews done, we'll look to pull up our race results here tonight to see where the drivers finished tonight's race here at the Twin Ring Motegi for the CFM Performance 250. So shout out to Dustin Stallings, of course. We talked to him. Race victory here for him tonight. Stephen Borbell is going to bring home the second spot. Richard Wolsifer going to be third. Brendan Maddox so close to victory there with those late race cautions look to be in his hands. He's going to only end up fourth there for him, but still, nonetheless, better than what it could have been if he got involved in a wreck. Fifth is going to go to Gray Walker. Great top 5 hit for him tonight. Ronnie Norman's going to sneak into a 6th position. Ben Kinney going to get a top 10 here in 7th, so great run for him. Jacob Quayle going to finish in the 8th spot. 9th is going to go to Dakota Bly, and rounding out our freaky fast top 10 is going to be Carl Pooler fighting back from some damage. And as we look through the rest of the order, Robert, what a night it was here at Motegi.
Most definitely, what a night. And what makes it awesome here, not awesome, but just looking through the rest of the field here, you got Johnny that's going to wind up coming around 18th position here. But the big hits, too, I'm looking at here is Coulter Clark, Jordan Wade. Yeah, oh, my God. I'm having a break. Thank you. And also Scott Fritz there. You have them right there, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And that's a big hit there for them 3 guys.
For sure. I mean, I looked at Coulter Clark, especially 22nd. Yeah, probably going to be out of the running for the regular season championship going into Michigan now. And then 21st for Jourdain White. He's now going to be probably even farther away from the cut line in 12th. So we'll have to see, again, how that all shakes out when they get the points uploaded for next week. We'll have all that in our pre-race coverage for next week at Michigan. But, man, Robert, it was quite the race here in Japan. I mean, when you go to tracks like this, different ones all around the world, one that's not commonly used by a lot of these drivers, it kind of throws up some interesting finishes to these races.
That it does, and you don't know what the turnout's going to be, when the race is done, because, like you said, you're not used to coming to tracks like this. This is not a normal track that NASCAR races or the ARCA Car Series races at. But that's what's really cool about iRacing is that you can take any car at any track that they have scanned and have fun and race it, even if it's not meant to be there. You can make it to be there. So I mean, that's the way it is here on iRacing. So props to iRacing for that. But before I hand this phone off to you, Zach, we need to also give a shout out to tonight's sponsors here. We have MXWraps.com, Red Center Shop, Sundance Pizza, Performance Food Service, CC Business, and also the Whiplash Sim Cams. Thank you for them sponsors here at the BRB Racing League. But with that being said here, Zach, any final thoughts before we bring up our upcoming schedule that we got here the rest of this week and then starting next week?
Yeah, just got to give a shout out to Stallings. Back-to-back victories. That's a tall task to do in this BRB Racing League. And I got to give him a huge congrats because he could have definitely sent it off in there in 3 and missed the corner, as such the 2 did. But he barreled it off in there and made that thing stick on the bottom, and it would have been an interesting race if the 2 could have been on a keep it alongside, but just could not do it. So congrats to Stallings. Shout out to the rest of the field, though. This was a pleasure to cover. And also shout out to Sam Dyer out there. I know he didn't get to finish tonight out with us, but he's always doing a great job alongside us here. And we definitely hope he feels better so we can get him back up here in the booth at full strength for you guys each and every week, because we know how much of a great job he does. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll send it off to Robert to close out tonight.
All right. Well, with that being said here, our final race here this week is going to be at the 802 Racing League on Thursday night. We go live at 7:50. So if you're bored, free on a Thursday night, make sure you come check us out at 7:50 here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And if you need to get any notifications, make sure you hit that subscribe button, the bell button to get all our notifications here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting of all the content that we put out. And so with that being said, for me, for Sam Dyer, and also for Zach Hall and me, Robert A. Moyer Jr. here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we'd like to say thank you everybody for tuning in. We much appreciate it. But with that being said, I want to tell everybody, God bless, love yous all, peace out.
I was standing, staying still, never said what I feel. And every time I took the blame, carried all this quiet shame. Cause all the pressure in my chest, I've gotta fight to catch my breath. When every step still feels the same, trying not to break. Where do I go from here? Maybe I'll disappear. If I don't try, I'll never know. I'm waiting on you. Where do I go from here? There will be no more tears. Kill the doubt, feed the fire, hear the voice inside. Up, it's my turn this time. They took a shot, now I want mine. You fall, I rise, I take the wheel. So this is how it feels. Where do I go from here? Maybe I'll disappear. If I don't try,